Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Dice Saga Hobby Hangout. It is Christian flying solo at the moment. Matt will be joining us soon, well, give or take half hour or so, kids depending. But we are honoured to have Nuno join us. So Nuno is a steward of the Neon website.
Merely a steward.
Okay, we'll downgrade it each time. And then, so Nuno, if you like to just give a brief description, or not brief, detailed description of what this website actually is. And yeah, we'll just get cracking on from there. And obviously we'll do some hobby hangouts. So I've got the Ideneth stuff to paint tonight, which is very cool. And Nuno, what have you got to paint as well after we've done the little intro of yourself?
I got rocks. I got more rocks. And I got, look at that, a floating rock. So I've split this guy. This is the Shrine Luminor. I split them up. Now I have a floating island and a realm gate.
Oh, sweet. No, I like that. It's such a great model as well.
It's I tend to avoid buying like the bigger models, but I just couldn't resist this one.
No,
it's just too good.
Not.
It's Age of Sigmar needs floating islands.
Beautiful. Here's anyway, we're going to digress, but anyway, the website. So do you want to give a quick introduction to yourself, how you got into the hobby, and what's going on with this website?
So the Neon is a group that got together already 5 years ago during 2016, 2017. I wasn't a part of it then, of several organizers who already wanted to play narrative play, and so Age of Sigmar has the opportunity, but nobody was doing it. So they took it into their hands, and you might have heard of such hallowed organized narrative events like Realms at War, Holy Wars, Holy Havoc. And if you haven't, that's kind of also the issue. The tournaments are always bigger, and they're always a bigger part of the conversation. But narrative events are not as widely publicized. But the ones that exist are amazing. And this has all been done. So if people wonder, like, oh, where is all the narrative play? Does anyone actually use this stuff in the General's Handbook? They do, and they make up even more. And this has always been out there. It's just that the publicizing it is
it's getting the word out, isn't it? That's the thing. Yeah, because for sure. I mean, as with just basically with the channel itself, just starting from scratch, getting the word out, getting the exposure. It's always tricky, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So what the Neos did, that they did a lot of work. Each of them have their own narrative events that they organize. Some of them, but many of them, as when the Neon was launched and developed, many of them got together with the express purpose to introduce more narrative play at a global level. So I don't know if you've heard about the Coalescence events.
To be honest, no, not too familiar with that. I mean, obviously continue by all means, but yeah, I'm not too familiar with that one.
So these were global narrative events that there was a player pack. It was released. It was actually mentioned in the Warhammer community that they shared it. And it was from there that I picked up that Neon was happening. And there were 3 Coalescence events. And it was a player pack that each organizer locally could run with their group of players. And then play all the battle plans with the special rules. And then by the end, you'd reach a conclusion that then would be submitted to the general organizers to decide the fate of the story.
I was going to say, that sounds pretty cool. It's the whole narrative aspect. I mean, as you alluded to before, there's so much going on out there. And even though I consider myself kind of like, I'd say more so recently, over the last year or two, becoming more and more narrative to an extent. Because I know before I was very much just local hobby groups and store and just local people I used to game with. But then I realized there's this whole other world, worlds even, realms out there that I haven't explored. And obviously when I first started talking to yourself around this, it was just great to see so many different things going on. And this is what I think is really great about this site as well. So, so what type of people or groups do you have on this site?
So that's something that I'm still kind of putting together in some parts, that to kind of connect all the online groups. So this is something that has developed, and this includes you guys. I don't know if you know, you're part of the Neon now. Congratulations. It's essentially a loose network of people who are doing narrative play and creating opportunities for people to play, and then sharing, just giving feedback, sharing opinions, and running events locally and collaborating with people that are doing global events. For instance, things like Coalescence, or now for this summer's Animosity. Animosity is now the big global event.
Yeah.
Anyone can play locally with their group within the storyline of Animosity. Animosity is 5 weeks of very in-depth narrative and teamwork and backstabbing and alliances.
All the good stuff, yeah.
And we're still in the process of connecting everything. The pandemic has been weirdly interesting, I think, for narrative play, because people brought it completely online. I don't know if this is something that essentially manifested in you guys.
Yeah, so with the whole hey Pete, by the way, thanks for joining. So I think with the hobby and obviously with the whole lockdown scenario, one thing for sure it allowed us to do is get a lot of things painted, get a lot of planning done, structure our kind of, because we started the channel in near enough in lockdown. So it's kind of a bizarre time. We had a lot of battles done, and this is historically we had a lot of battles done, and then we started to build the actual editing behind the scenes, the stories, all that kind of stuff. And then when we came to release the videos, that's pretty much when lockdown was getting kicked in. So I think it was just before lockdown kicked in. So it's quite a bizarre time, but at the same time, it led us to obviously finding like Keegan from the Great Weave, obviously yourself, the whole guys on the Discord channel as well. So yeah, it's great. I mean, it's a great time to actually, we utilized it well, should I say. I think that's probably the correct phrasing.
I don't know. When you said that you guys only more recently started becoming more narrative, I think, and this is several people that are part of the Neon. You know, many hallowed names in the Neon that you might know from the interwebs. It's been discussed that there still needs to develop a common language to explain what actually goes on in narrative play. And maybe people say, wait, so I have to role play all the time? No, obviously not. You can, and that depends on the event.
Yeah.
And depends whether it's part of the core experience of the event, or it's just a bit of fun that some people do spontaneously. Sometimes it doesn't even make sense, and people are just being silly, and people just have fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, when we say we weren't really that narrative, we always have been. In my head, obviously, it's always been like a narrative game. I mean, don't wrong, you play the points, you play the obviously system, but obviously in terms of the actual visually, what I always see has always been a narrative. If you know what I mean. It's so when the battles are taking place, and they're like, "Oh, I won." It's like, "Oh, great!" Then
Oh, is that it?
Exactly. I can imagine with so many arrows flying across, magic scoring across the sky, and all that kind of good stuff. So, funny. I mean, I suppose with the narrative side, from our channel point of view, is where we leaned very heavily into it, because before we were and ahhing whether we should do like a lot of the battle reports out there, that kind of style. But then we was like, oh no, we really like the narrative side, and we was like, you know what, we're just going to go all in narrative, and hence why we do like match play games, but we tell it like in narrative fashion as well. And I think the whole
interesting.
I think the whole as you say mentioned there about the role playing side of things. I mean, both me and Matt have done D&D, played D&D before. We're both as characters and dungeon masters, and it's always great doing the accents and just putting on a bit of voices and all that kind of good stuff. But I think in general, with the actual like gaming tabletop, it's a different thing. We don't really do that as such, apart from within our videos. So I think that's probably, in terms of role playing, that's where we get the most out of that aspects. Because again, we haven't tried Soulbound yet, and I think that's something we may look towards the future. Because I think I've seen Keegan play that on Twitch today, and I've seen others on YouTube, and it does look fun. It does look fun.
It's a lot of fun. I think especially with the platform that Keegan built with the Great Weave, I was not expecting that something like that could happen, that you could have a repository sort of repository / living campaign platform online,
Yeah.
where everyone's original creations can be put there, and you can literally play in them with their permission.
Yeah.
That is a revolutionary idea,
Yeah. No, for
and
sure.
I really want to play Soulbound again because of that.
Yeah, that's it. And it'll be it's so good. I mean, going to go back to the Great Reef, but obviously the Interstice side of things, where we've got obviously like the battle map, we've got the map, should I say, that we created, and we're starting to like put locations. We've had people reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram as well, saying, "Oh, this sounds so cool. Can we place our location there as well and get involved?" And we're like, "Hell yeah!" Just let us know. Join Discord, or just let us know. We can get obviously things rolling. So I think there's definitely an audience for this kind of stuff. I mean, it's
Definitely.
I think it's just massively not known. I mean, for me
Yes.
personally, without actually meeting you guys and obviously in the Discord, and I wouldn't know it was as big as it is. If you know what I mean, I just don't think it's well advertised at this point. I think, or maybe it is, but to I suppose its target audience kind of material's been like one way rather than to widespread to everyone, where you can, other people may be like competitive players as such, and they may be like, oh, you know what, I quite fancy this. I've written some lore myself and want to get involved, but they've never had that exposure. So I suppose that's something which, again, this site, again, if the people watching and watching later, there's a link down below where you can access this site, and obviously browse it all. There's some great stuff in there. So, but should we go through some of these tabs that we got then? So I'm assuming news, is that pretty self-explanatory in terms of what it is, and does it touch on what's going on in certain, obviously we've got narrative events?
Yep. So we'd actually just advertised one that is going to happen in July from the narrative player scene that already exists there. So this is going to involve mysteries, and players have to find it and put the pieces together.
That's pretty cool.
It's from the Whitney Warhammer gaming group, and they have a whole storyline on Twitter. They have voice acting, they have people writing stories. So that article has like a bit of an intro to what's going on. So this is the interesting thing about when you mentioned about not knowing what was going on. Most of the big narrative events sell out almost immediately.
Yeah, this is it, and I suppose it's just that knowledge as well. I mean, because again, I didn't know it like until up and probably about 6-7 months ago. And I've been in the hobby for a long time, but I've never known like stuff like this existed. Because I've always been like, it's like your own little corner of the hobby kind of stuff and kind of thing, and I never knew any of this existed whatsoever. And I think it's about 20 years or so we've been in the hobby. So it's only like the last year that I've actually found so much of this stuff out here.
And even back then, I think, even during Warhammer Fantasy Battles, there was big narrative play being played, actually in the form of the original Animosity campaigns. I didn't know about it either. Because it was through the forums, all the forums that existed for the different armies.
Yeah,
they would actually get in on it, but I was in one of those forums and I didn't even know it was happening.
Yeah, well, exactly that. And I think, again, it's just if you do, again, people who do access this website, check out everything that's in there, because there's so many great stuff obviously going on. Obviously, to name drop, someone called Dice Sagas is in there, so you can always you can always check out those guys as well. Yeah,
I mean, you guys appearing on the scene has been amazing, because you guys showed up with everything that we want. Special effects, battle reports, voiceover, a map that you're literally asking people to develop their stories, that you then do lore videos for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons. I obviously appreciate that, but it's one of the reasons why me and Matt wanted to do something that was narrative as well, because we know there's so many great stories out there. I mean, me and Matt love writing stories, and we know there's so many out there that I thought it would just be a shame where they couldn't be heard, kind of thing. So get them involved, throw their city, their hero, their cities may become sieged over time as well, and all that kind of stuff. And if they want to defend a friend's city, then hell, you do those battle reports, get stuck in. And we will be looking to do that kind of like a monthly event where a certain place may be under siege, and then based on what people's battles are and obviously what happens, you can join certain sides depending on obviously who's fighting in the conflicts. And then based on the results, obviously that would then change the outcome of that, the actual settlement, if you like. So for instance, if it's owned by Sylvaneth, like a forest, and then all of a sudden like Nighthaunt come along and they just obviously win the day, if you like, and then the whole forest could be transformed into some some nightmare scene.
That's pretty cool. And you'd run this as an event or as something that would like be longer term?
So what at this moment in time, the idea would be, again, we're waiting for lockdown to fully kind of go, so then people can obviously start getting in their battles. But yeah, so it will be a monthly thing. So we'll have like real states, like a certain settlement is under siege. Are you going to join the forces to conquer it, or are you going to join the forces to defend it? And then we'll have polls, so people can obviously then say, oh, I won my battle, it goes mark against these guys. Oh, I lost my battle, minus against there. And then we tally up, and then me and Matt will also have a fight, and then we'll see see what the outcome is, really. So, and obviously we'll grow, we'll develop, we'll learn as we go. But I think the first one for sure is along those lines.
I think that can get a lot of people moving. I mean, it was the same thing when Animosity 2 ran last year. That everyone was at home. Everyone wanted something to interact with. And because what Animosity offered was essentially, you can play, you can hobby, you can do art, you can do cosplay, you can do short story writing, you can do all sorts of these things. And all of these count the same for your team, for your narrative choice. And we just saw a huge number of players that they don't even play Age of Sigmar. They might just even hobby, or they just might enjoy the lore. Some of them were from the old Warhammer Fantasy Battles forums. They actually joined and started collecting Age of Sigmar because of this. So there's a lot of people that are interested in it.
I was going to say that for sure. I mean, I think, again, from the conversations I have with people from like different social medias, they're very keen to get their stories told and get involved. It's just, again, they never knew anything like this existed, which is kind of the reason for this video, of course, but also for our channel, just to say, hey guys, this exists.
Yes, that's essentially been kind of the mission, the stated mission of the Neon, which actually stands for Narrative Event Organizer Network. I should say the full name. And the Neos are the Narrative Event Organizers. So Neo is the same as TO, but for narrative events.
Okay. And
is partly to give resources for people who want to start running their event, finding other people who are playing narrative, because I think that's the hardest part, because many people want to organize, but they don't have enough people interested in making the plunge. And also understanding that narrative and match play are a spectrum. All you need is, we're playing, very competitive games, but the map campaign, that's narrative enough for me. Yes, it may be a little bit harder than what I would like, but there's a story there. You got me in.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. That's exactly that. Alejandro. So Alejandro is here. He has announced himself. I need to introduce some sort of like trumpets or something like that going off.
No, it's good to see regulars. People are really eager to contribute stuff. It's awesome to see.
No, it was great. I mean, unfortunately, I was going to say Pete, who joined in earlier. I'm not sure if he's still there in chat, but he's unfortunately he's working, so had to pop in and pop out. But no, it's great to see. Obviously, people keep coming back and engaging with us and talking about hobby and hobby hangout. I mean, that's what it's all about. But yeah, no, I suppose for like narrative events as well, for like longevity, because there are some people who, again, it's the commitment side. It's like, when you play Dungeons & Dragons or like Soulbound or something, it's a long story. Some of these sessions can take a long time.
Oh yeah.
And so it's one of those things where it's a commitment piece as well. So if we can shrink that, and this is our goal as well, to try and shrink that so it's not as I mean, obviously it will be a long period of time, but at the same time, in terms of like saying, oh, this battle, this settlement is under siege, would you want to attack, would you want to defend, all that kind of stuff, I think that's, you know, very key as well, to have short narrative battles where people can just hop in, join, and hop out without having the full-on commitment, because
Yes,
everyone's got lives, everyone's busy doing, you know, nobody's life is the same, so having the
campaigns are
longevity-
hard to run. You know, many campaigns are started, not every campaign is finished. It's hard to kind of keep those campaigns going, and I think that's kind of the most difficult challenge, because that's the most obvious way of maintaining some narrative play. My secret is doing events. I know I can't keep their attention for too long, so I plan a one-day event.
Yeah.
And I toot it up, and I kind of make it be a big thing, and I make the tables try to be pretty, and then you manage to attract some people and they have some fun.
See, and exactly that, and I think that's more my take as well. I'd say is short stories in essence. So is that Alejandro? I read 40k and came here as fast as I could.
Well, apologies, but this is only Age of Sigmar narrative. But the principles are the same.
Well, I was going to say, actually, leading, you know, I've been hinting at this to a few people here and there, but for our channel as well, we will be doing a 40k equivalency in the future. So again, that's definitely something on the agenda. In terms of this video right now, this stream, it's more talking hobby. So if you want to talk 40k, talk 40k, all that kind of stuff. But so again, in terms of the whole narrative side of things for 40k, what the plan is, I'm gonna, well, at this moment in time, I'm building a sector of space. It's gonna have a load of planets, all that kind of stuff. And people obviously can, I've even got people already on Instagram saying, I want to place my, you know, chapter homeworld there. I want to put my battle, you know, ship or cruiser in this sector of space as well, so they can participate and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, it's
40k has a lot of narrative potential.
Oh, massively so.
And I've seen, normally it's the 30k folks. I've seen people playing Horus Heresy, and it's so cool. They build stuff so much, and I feel like it could be always like this.
Oh yeah, it
could be always, you know, the dropship missions and jungles and Space Hulk shootouts.
It's so good. And this, I think, there you go. Sorry, Matt was just reaching out. I think he's joining in a sec. So yeah, no, 40k is going to be, it's definitely on the agenda, and it's going to be coming, I'm going to say months rather than weeks, just because obviously we're in the process of getting everything well started, if you like. So I'm creating the sector, I'm creating the planets. I've also got a guy doing some artwork behind the scenes as well for the video editing, all this kind of good stuff. And I've already got so many awesome ideas that I want to get in the kind of stuff, which again, even with the Age of Sigmar stuff we're doing now, but probably not the next 2 videos, or maybe possibly even the next 2, and we're slowly going to be enhancing those as well, which is obviously kind of the idea, right? You obviously, from our very first video to where we are now, it's grown, it's got better, it's more structured, and then 7 months from now, it's only going to get better and better and better, kind of thing.
I think your dedication is a testament to the success, because I think things like these need consistency, dedication, and you can even do it slowly but consistent, and it keeps growing, because it's very easy to burn out on these things.
Yeah.
You know, full hypocrisy here. The neon has ups and downs of activity as well, as people kind of join and are more excited, or then come more into the sidelines, and new projects kind of start coming up. So in the Animosity Discord, a little spark of inspiration was started that apparently it might be possible in the future to do a global narrative event that is a train heist, where each location is a different part of some huge realm hopping train.
That sounds good.
It's been officially dubbed the Chug Lord, or manned by the Chug Lords. And And this is completely in the hands of the folks that are discussing it. It's literally evolving organically.
No,
We don't know what's going to happen.
That does sound awesome. That Matt's just joined as well.
Yeah, Matt.
The faceless one.
Hello.
And then Alejandro. So indeed, the principles are the same, and would love a 40k Dice Saga version. Well, it will be coming. I'm not going to say when because it's going to be months, but it's coming. Well ready for the 40k campaign. Yes.
Sometime around when Half-Life 3 comes out. So soon.
Soon.
But the principles are definitely the same.
So, Matt, I'm not sure whether, because I know you've just joined, but we're just basically talking around the narrative side of stuff at the moment. And obviously this website that Nuno's obviously, well, we're talking around, and he's basically representing this at the moment.
I'm purely representing it.
Yeah, just
Nothing
representing.
Yeah.
He built it, he written everything.
No, he's done none of that. I'm purely the secretary prime so far.
Yeah, exactly.
The main protagonist of the website.
Yeah, it's going to big you up. That's all.
I'm the guy who stamps. I'm the guy who pushes emails. There you go. Middle management.
Yeah, the admin. But they're the key people to make sure
they're the true heroes.
True heroes. Yeah.
So if you actually go to the narrative community part that I'm fleshing out, that will be. There we go. So I am going to be connecting everything that is there, because a lot of people have done a lot of stuff, and there's all these new platforms, but there are also platforms that have existed for a long time, and people have created amazing content that just needs to be put forward, and they've been playing narrative locally for ages, and many people know several of them, but they may not connect to the fact that the amazing hobby they see on screen or on their Twitter, this is actually always connected to a narrative campaign that has been going on for like years. Yeah.
That's it, and I think it's exactly that. And Matt, I'm not sure because I know you're you've been in the hobby for a number of years, a few years now, isn't it? But
I'm a youngling in the hobby, really.
Yeah. But in terms of because I was just saying that I've been in the hobby for 20 odd years, but in terms of the actual narrative scene, I wasn't aware until a few years ago that it even existed.
Me neither. That's the best part. Me neither.
Yeah, exactly that. And it does harken back to exposure, everything like that. And for me personally, now I know that this exists. It's awesome because it's just great to interact, talk with other guys, get ideas, bounce ideas off each other, all that kind of good stuff.
It's also important to kind of know that not everything that is narrative is for everyone, and there may be things that are more narrative or more narrative in a certain way.
Yeah,
and people can just pick and choose. I think that's the important part, is that people are aware of what's out there. So there's actually a compilation there of all, or not all, definitely not all, but many narrative discussions that have happened all over the years, and many of the people who built the Neon are featured in these online conversations.
Yeah. Just scrolling through now as we talk.
The folks from Realms at War have been pivotal. Fjordhammer, the organizers of the Nova Open Grand Narrative. Tyler Mengel created some of the first variable objectives rules and the first custom battle tome, I think, all the way back in 16, 17.
Right. Okay.
Cool.
There's Cinderfall Gaming. They're always discussing how can you apply narrative to your army and develop narrative in your army. Mitchie and Jimbo Show, so they're part of the Realms at War narrative crew. If you've ever seen pictures of Realms at War, it blows your mind.
No, I was going to say, no, even some of these, I mean, I know quite a few of them scrolling through, you got AOS Coach, 2+ Stuff, Cinderfall, I know. In fact, Cinderfall Gaming's done some voice acting for us in one of the videos as well, and 2+ Stuff has. But 2+ Stuff
awesome. He's been helping us quite a bit to advertising things.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's actually doing some Stormcast voiceovers for our next battle report as well, which is pretty cool. But no,
yes, AOS Coach, I met him as a narrative organizer because this is when I actually started getting in touch with the Neon. It was when Malign Portents came out, and the Neos at the time had gotten together, this completely before my time, they had gotten together to write a pack to do a Coalescence Malign Portents. And this was together with, as the book of Malign Portents was being released, and the event was running parallel to the Dread Solstice campaign. So this was a global event. So I ran this at my shop. Well, shop's not mine, my local shop. And we had like a few players come over, and that's what started, a bit more of a tradition to start running narrative games at our shop.
That's sweet though.
And AOS Coach was like one of the few, not one of the few. It was the first time that I saw him interacting with people when he was still growing, I think. And he was running the narrative. He had full narrative rules. He had a video where he had a hood on. Yeah. So for me, he's always a narrative player.
So, for me, AOS Coach. So again, I've come across this channel kind of recent in terms of like say a year or so. But for me, he's very much because at the moment he has a lot of like meta lists or list building.
I know.
So for me, the narrative thing did not connect until I just saw him, and I was like, really?
So he was going to run a narrative event called The Allure of the Beastgrave. It was going to have coins. It was going to have a barter system. It was going to have. He is actually saying that you can bribe me, the organizer, for special effects with money. I think he was trying to kind of see how far can I push this, and it's very surprising. But yes, he's a pillar of the community, and he's very on the ball, meta oriented. But I met him as a narrative organizer. Then that's why it's funny.
Yeah, no, I was going to say because I did not connect that. Alejandro, so he's currently working on the Planetary Defense Force of his capital world. So continue that work, my friend, because in many months, I think it may be under siege. Obviously, we're talking 40K narrative here, of course.
I mean, I want to see those games where in one table you have your Battlefleet Gothic, and the other table you have the tabletop game.
I would love
what do you want?
Battlefleet Gothic, though, but it's Battlefleet Gothic. They stopped selling it. Was it around about 2013? They stopped selling that board game, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think GW stopped selling it because I was looking into it the other day. I was like, just for even like getting to it, you can get the miniatures third party. You can print them, you can eBay, whatever. But I don't want to obviously fork out a fortune just for some.
But you can do if somebody has them. You can do it as a part of like a small mini game, or even as like markers in the campaign map. You can find a way to do like the space battle connect to the tabletop game.
No, for sure. And in all honesty, this is again, it's in terms of the actual like narrative, and this is where obviously talking with the community. Because obviously I've got some ideas. But at the same time, they're not set in stone. Obviously, speaking to you now, speaking to the community, they there are other great ideas out there. So obviously taking all that in to make the best kind of adventure for everyone and story for everyone is kind of the goal. So
speaking of combining stuff like what you were mentioning about Battlefleet Gothica and like ground battle for 40K, I'd love to see that in AOS as well. See, like, because they have aerial combat rules, right? So if we have that combined with a ground battle, and I'm even thinking like you can have like a catacombs battle going, or a catacombs warcry game going on, like underground a city while a siege is going on, while an aerial combat is going
siege. On. I've ran an AOS and warcry game event. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it was a lot of fun. So I think the next time I do it, I had to kind of work more connection between the two, so that bonuses in one can kind of cross to the other, and so they can kind of plan more together. Yeah, it's totally doable, but yes, required some care.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I'm just looking at my KO ships at the moment, and like some air battles sounds pretty cool.
Wait till my Bloodthirster comes out. We'll see.
Yeah. Gonna have to get a whole new lick of paint to start putting on these ships.
Matt, I think the idea of running the flying rules I still have to see. I think Keegan did that. He had a table that he just filled it with loads of cotton, and this is the cloud. There you go. But you're totally right. I want to see that happen because it
That would be very cool.
beautiful.
I think it would. It would very much so.
It's something that Matt, obviously we can clearly, look to do something similar. 'Cause I'm not sure actually flying units.
It's in the General's Handbook.
Yeah,
I want to say 2021, but I don't think anyone's actually tried it, or at least I've not known anyone to try it.
Yeah.
Just because not everyone has flying monsters.
There's a channel that also does narrative battles called the Belligerent Duck. They have done the Skies of Slaughter, which has completely different rules. They've tried it out. I have to say that I prefer modules to the existing rules rather than a completely rule set, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I think people should try out stuff.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like GW, as good as their rule writing can be, doesn't mean it's the best, right? We can always find better or stuff that works better for your local team or your local meta.
Yeah, for sure. Alejandro there, he's 40k wise, but he's saying about his oceanic world. So they scuba dives with mechas, Big Daddy and Bioshock style. That's pretty cool.
That's cool. That's awesome.
I like that. That sounds very cool. So, Matt, are you working on your skull cannons?
Skull cannons. Gonna finish shading this last one, and then I'll consider doing some layer painting, maybe, or I might just leave it because it looks fine without.
Yeah, I think Nuno, you said you were working on. You've got some rocks. You got more rocks, and I think you got more rocks.
I got rocks and more rocks. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're talking about rocks or
rocks.
Rocks. Gotcha.
Styrofoam and plaster.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I've not really checked out the Warhammer community either recently. Let's check out this. Ooh. Talking of terrain, and we're painting terrain. This Necromunda terrain looks pretty cool, right?
I was like, did that just come out today? I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, no, I've not. To be honest, I was just checking the website to see if there's anything new. And
that was today,
yeah. That looks really cool.
See, that's the kind of thing you see in narrative games. You go beyond of what people find comfortable to play in, fully balanced matched play. But if you commit, you'll have a gaming experience. It's more of an experience than a tournament. Like you don't go there to win; you go there to laugh.
No, for sure. Some of this, just the detail in it as well. Like you've got a thermal valve, all that kind of stuff.
I always thought the 40k terrain was, like, in a sense, nicer than the AOS ones.
I think they've definitely got a lot of cool variety. I think the AOS, one of my favorite terrain pieces is actually one that Nuno's got at the moment. I think he's split it though a little bit, but was the Lumineth one. The
waterfall rock thing.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
So the reason why I got in this sort of like rock painting spree is because, well, first I don't have a lot of like rock terrain, just like wilderness. I actually have a lot of city terrain because I have stuff for Mordheim.
Ah, okay.
But I want to build up my wilderness and this whole kind of high-ish mountaintops with like these tall, thin rocks jutting up kind of inspired us.
Cool. Yeah, I have that problem too. Like, I think I have a lot of terrain that's just ruins and loads of ruins, but nothing else, like nothing natural, nothing rocky or anything like just natural formations. It's all just man-made ruins.
No, yeah.
I need to branch out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, even like I was looking at the some of the desert terrain as well, and those on that obviously pre-painted terrain that I was looking at, but just some stuff like that, just to jazz up the board a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Just for a little bit of variety.
Yeah. Alejandro, so I used Character and Overlords, Ideneth, and Mechanicus parts. You got to show some pics of that. That sounds epic.
That sounds a good combination, yeah. You can tell that GW is also moving in that direction because that's pretty smart. Because the aesthetics are similar enough that you can convert all within their range.
Mm. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, so I'm gonna start on this terrain. Got the island terrain, the boats start cracking. I've already pre-based them before the stream, so that was handy. So we get cracking. Yeah, get cracking straight on with the Grif Charge of Grey. Okay, so Alejandro, so yeah, the number one rule in my 40k community is the law. What was that? The law is the law if you can justify it with law. Well, it's basically, yeah, okay, I get that. So we usually have Order Xenos Inquisitors using Talbot suits and stuff like that. That's fun. Although the Inquisitors, Order Xenos Inquisitors, surely they would absolutely destroy any such heresy. Well, that sounds cool. All right, where's my Grif Charge of Grey? Here it is.
I mean, it's not heresy if they take it and then say it's theirs, right?
You
know, just copyright everything. Like, okay, I made this. It's okay now. Sanctioned.
The Imperium basically make next to nothing. I mean, obviously the Mechanicus guys, obviously from Viking, from Mars, obviously, they do make a few bits and bobs, but yeah, I don't know. To be honest, again, 40k lore, I have been out of the loop for a very, very long time, and I'm slowly creeping back into it. So it could be way off, and things may have changed since obviously I last looked at it over 6 years ago, or 10 years ago even. Negima, welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. It's nice to see our regulars.
Yeah.
You guys have built an amazing community, I have to say.
We're getting there.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's just great that we've got such awesome guys and gals everywhere in terms of, we've got people reaching out to us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and obviously Twitch now and elsewhere, just saying to us how, they want to get involved, they want to submit the characters, locations, all that kind of stuff, even just to chill with us now as well and start obviously in these hobby hangouts, which is very cool.
Yeah, do you guys talk a bit more about that? Like, what did they say? Like, what do they find that makes you guys different? Like, what they say that makes them enjoy you guys so much?
Yeah, it's just basically first of all, the availability, the engagement, obviously, as well, that we give to them. So it's not like when I post stuff on basically any social that I have, I don't really just say, okay, we got this event thing going on. Anyone involved? Anyone interested? All that kind of stuff. It actually, I want to hear their stories. I mean, that's the whole idea. Because it's the reason why we started this channel as well. Because obviously we've got stories to tell, but we know the community has some awesome stories to tell as well. And that's part of why we do the community lore videos as well. So we can just spread the word of how good the community is at actually telling their own lore and getting involved and all that kind of good stuff.
Not only that, but like creativity is so much more magnified if you have other people involved, because only one person can be creative, but only up to a certain extent. But if you have like 4 or 5, etc., more people working on something, you can create something much more unique.
Because what you guys are doing is, in some ways, is similar to what Animosity tapped into as well. But you guys came up with it also completely independently.
Yeah.
Means it's convergent evolution. It's the right direction.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people probably come to this point. It's just whether or not people have noticed them or not.
Yes.
Yeah, the exposure is key. I mean, obviously the YouTube algorithm is a cruel bitch, I tell you, in terms of basically what you got to have. It's not just the likes, you got to have the comments, because if you don't have comments on your videos and your likes and even feedback, anything on your videos, it's basically YouTube's just you go lower down in the pecking order, so you're not as exposed in that kind of thing. So basically the videos that we do have, we really appreciate when obviously people put the effort into say what they like about it, even what they dislike about it, putting a like in there, all that kind of stuff, because again it helps us out to basically get noticed as well, and also it's great to hear the feedback from obviously the community that do watch it as well. It's something that I will be looking to obviously speak to the community on. I think another thing with YouTube as well is the community tab aspect, where you can actually engage with the YouTubers in your community. It's only available when you hit 1,000 subscribers. So that in itself is a challenge to get to 1,000 subscribers. So it's one of those things where eventually our engagement with the community be so much greater, especially for the YouTube guys. But at this moment in time, it's quite a struggle. So it's just we are growing. So long may it continue.
I mean, from the numbers you guys have told me, and the fact that you guys know all these details, you guys are definitely on the right track. And I think that it's difficult, but it requires quite a bit of research into how it all works. But I don't know. I mean, I've seen me and my wife, we actually consume quite a lot of online YouTube content because it doesn't cost anything, and we don't pay much for streaming services. And there's so much fun stuff out there. We're big fans of Critical Role, where we watch other people like playing live plays and streaming games. And it's become almost, the world has changed, I feel, in terms of entertainment, and I think a lot of people haven't noticed that.
No, for sure.
The future of business is communities.
No, I 100% agree with that. So, Nigames says, how are you guys doing today? Well, I am doing very well, thank you. Hope you are too. Just cracking on with some Ideneth terrain. I know Matt is maybe bleeding because I'm working on Ideneth.
Why does that cause bleeding?
Go on, Matt.
Just unbelievable. It's been a long time coming. He's been saying that he's going to be working on his Ideneth for feels like years.
The trigger.
The channel's not been around for years, but it feels like years. It's one of those armies where I got it quite early in the whole adventure, if you like, and then I ended up putting it to one side and focusing on overlords, bringing up my fancy armies, converting them into AOS, all that kind of stuff, and then they've just basically been pushed down the pecking order. But then now I finished half of the ogre army, every model that I do own for the ogres. I'm now right, okay, let's get cracking on with the Ideneth. In essence, I was kind of hoping for a new book to come out. Possibly a new book with some new endless spells and all this other stuff, but and then obviously build a list around that. But hey ho, I'm just gonna get cracking on now. Because why wait?
So they were consigned to shrink wrap. I see.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Oh, thank you very much for the follow on Twitch, Nigma. Thank you.
So how is the Interstice developing? So how many players do you have that have a location set in there and stories? Do you guys know?
Ooh. I don't know. I've lost count. I just update the map, really.
So in terms of we've got. Let me just think.
See, off the top of my head, I can think of four or five other people's submissions that are locations there now.
I think we've got about 6, maybe. I think because some they're in the some are in the works that are going to be sent through as well. So I spoke with this other guy today on Twitter, and obviously mentioned the facts, what we do and all that stuff, and obviously he found it awesome as well, and he's going to be submitting a Skaven location in time. He's just going to work on some of the lore, all that kind of stuff, and then he's going to look to submit that as well. So it's slowly getting there. I mean, it's it's slowly building, which is a good thing for us as well, because it means that we can, at this pace, get used to the format and understand what it is and how we're going to build and approach and grow as we go. So yeah, it's going at a good pace, I think, so far. Obviously, if it all of a sudden took off even more so, I'm not going to complain. But no, it's going quite well.
I don't know. I find it amazing because this is something this is kind of what the Neon has been trying to spark, and essentially create enough critical mass of interest over time to get people, playing narrative games in whatever form that takes, right?
Yeah, of course.
And to see, people who, maybe this was the missing piece, people who are willing to do community engagement platforms where you have a built-in lore in it, and that immediately hooks people in.
Yeah. I mean, it's a learning curve, because again, when we decided to go on this adventure, if you like, it was one of those things where it wasn't exactly, well, I didn't know of any other YouTubers who done something similar. Obviously there are similar-ish kind of things, but to the type of battle reports we do. So obviously it's kind of going out into a niche community with a even
niche style,
niche idea style and all that kind of stuff. So it's a roll of the dice, literally, in terms of how it was going to turn out. And
what a pun!
And I know I had to. So yeah, and so far, again, some of the feedback, we've had some feedback saying, "Oh, it's great, but it's not really our thing." And perfect, every bit of feedback, that's great. But then we've also had the other side, the flip side of that, where they're saying, "Oh, this is amazing. It's great that the videos aren't too long, that they're digestible, a good period of time. Also, it's great to listen to when you're hobbying and stuff like that." So yeah, I've had some really good feedback in that sense for this, for the type of content that we do offer.
I'm looking forward to see how much the Interstice is going to change over time. How many places have you guys destroyed?
I've destroyed one city, but that was just purely just from a story-wise thing.
Yeah,
didn't actually go and siege it.
Was it from your input, Matt, or was it from player input?
No. To be fair, most of the player input cities and things, they've kind of listed it as do not destroy, so I can't really touch it. I suppose people are attached to what they make. Yeah, I, for one, don't mind if people want to siege my stuff. Go for it, please, by all means. But
I'm essentially poking and prodding to see what innovations you guys can do in your platform. Because those could be interesting things. You could circumscribe an area that all right, this is going to be the playground of a campaign we're going to run.
Oh, that is the plan.
We don't know what's going to happen.
Hush, hush, hush. That is future plans. Yeah, we want to do that. We want to. What me and Chris are planning on doing at some point is we're going to hunker down into single areas once in a while and just say, this is a battle over this area that's happening right now. We have this and this faction. Choose a side. Tell us your story. What's going on? Who's fighting? Who's winning? And then after a set amount of time, we tally up who's been fighting for which side, who's winning which side, and we write an overarching kind of story to say, this side has prevailed because of the contributions of these people. This is their story, and this is what's the consequences of that. So changing of powers, maybe, a shifting of the alliances, things like that. Whatever happens.
Yeah. And we'll obviously name drop their characters as well, and who were involved in the battle, and when we do tell the battle report towards the end as well, which is really cool. So obviously gets their characters in there as well, or some locations, some locations and nearest settlements that community member has created. To may get a lot of migration from civilians heading in their direction because there's conflicts, and so we name drop that kind of area as well, saying that and we'll reach out to that community or that owner of that settlement saying, what would you do? Would you want to reject them? Would you accept them? and then we'll incorporate that into the actual story as well. So it's that kind of stuff.
You guys should really get involved with the Animosity this year, because the team that Alex put together, they have a lot of experience in literally running everything that you just said. Yeah. The system in itself may be slightly different, how things are scored and how you can participate, but it was a learning curve. You know, it takes time to understand how you can do this properly.
Yeah.
And players getting what they think the event is about. You know, delivering what players expect from the event, because explaining things is always a barrier, right? And I mean, come join us this summer. I mean, Animosity is it's 5 mad weeks. You could literally get folks from the Interstice essentially opening a portal somehow over there, and you know, for some holidays, make some coin.
Like it.
Because at the end of those 5 weeks, whew, I've never seen so many Discord messages.
Yeah. Well, this is it. And as like the whole aspects of like what the plans are is, well, for sure we're going to learn as we go. I mean, and obviously there's going to be some things that we definitely could do better. Some things that we probably think, oh, that's actually turned out really well. And it's basically the same with anything, right? It's a learning curve, and obviously in terms of like events, we will start off rather small. So we're going to start off with like a location and get people involved and do like polling and other bits just to test the waters a bit, to see what kind of feedback reaction. Because again, in terms of the overall, like on our channel, there's stuff that gets the most views is the battle reports, which is always going to be the case, really.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. Then after that, then it's the lore videos. So it's the community lore videos. So I think it's, again, with that aspect again, being kind of a niche channel, doing a niche idea kind of thing, it's quite hard to say a like for like, if you like, for the obviously standard battle report compared to ours, because again, this is a battle report on screen, the Warcry one. So it's like, obviously we're telling a story, everything like that. So it's quite, it's different. It's quite difficult to compare, really. But it's the only thing we do have to compare with.
No, I mean, don't. I think you're selling yourself short. I mean, look at this, a meteor falling and shaking effects. And over I think the first one that I saw, you guys even had like a muzzle fire in Terradron machine guns, and I thought, this is it. I've been waiting for this for years.
Yeah.
It is very cool, and I think especially when it's something that I've mentioned also to Martin from Narrative Labs. So they do the live narrative games on Twitch.
Yeah, I've caught some of this stuff.
I think for me, at least personally, is when you know a character that has been in several battles and you already know the silly and funny stuff that has already happened. They show up again, and now you're more involved.
Yeah,
that to me is always the more funny thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's one of those things where it's like with the Great Weave, having that like storage for the characters and all that kind of stuff as well. It's always a great place to say, if they go through that list, they would recognize some of the characters that have been on these battle reports and understand the backstory and all that kind of stuff. It's like, in some of the characters, it's like Agent Nagash. He's another guy who did a voiceover for us as well. Actually, for this battle report, he did a voiceover for an ogre, and it would just so happen that it was just the whole story around it. Me and Matt did a good job, obviously, writing it as well. But it's just this guy here. This is the voice of the ogre that he voiced. Is it Mevarok? I think it's
Mevarok. Yeah.
Mevarok. Yeah. And it's hilarious, and he really enjoyed doing it as well. But
I heard that one. It's really good.
The character by itself, kind of thing. It was awesome. And he wasn't in my head when it first started off. He was nothing like
nothing special, really.
Yeah, nothing special. Yeah, and he just became a character.
I think that's the interesting part, is that you don't know where it's going to go. I think Martin wrote an article. So Martin and Jamie from Realm of Plastic, Jamie the Jasper. So they're part of the same local gaming group, and he wrote an article specifically on that, on when you actually don't write a background for your character, and your throwaway character becomes an actual interesting character because of what randomly has happened.
Yeah.
Because
No, for sure.
full confession, as a narrative player, I don't really spend a lot of time like writing background for my stuff, because very rarely do you get to interact with people with whom it can connect. But when it does, then I get excited, because then that's when I can actually do it.
No, I can get that. Sorry, I've got a bit too much on my brush. I get that, and it's one of those where I enjoy writing a backstory for certain, obviously, new characters. Here, it's like key players, if you like. But there are definitely certain aspects where, again, it's myself and Matt. We had a game. It was Drusilla, my Banshee lady. I've already written a backstory for her. But it was during this battle report where it just became like a thing. They've now got a history. This Matt, what's your character again?
Joseph Geostar.
Oh yes.
So yeah, Drusilla and Joseph Geostar. Now they've got a bit of a history, and I think
it's just something that evolves over because of what happened in the game. Because I mean, they got locked in combat. They just looked at each other for like 3 rounds. I couldn't get away, so we just built this rivalry between them.
Yeah,
sweet.
And it's actually really fun as well. It's very so many laughs, so many surprising saves and misses.
Those are the moments. Those are the moments, guys.
Yeah, for sure. Alejandro, so trying to attach this character in arm to the mech is driving me nuts. Tell you what, Alejandro, as soon as you get those pics sorted, send them through, because it does sound like it's going to be amazing, those conversions.
Oh, speaking of which, so do you fellas know what a cog fort is?
Yes, in a sense.
So, have you built one?
Oh no! So that sounds immense.
I mean, it depends on the size you want to build it. Have you seen Ricky Smith's cog fort? You might have come across.
Not his cog fort. I've seen his army, the steampunk army, right?
That's the army.
Yeah, I've not seen his cog fort though.
It's one of the big piece of that army, actually. That's kind of, I think, how he started, and then he built a whole force. He was the one who started popularizing the cog forts.
I'll have to look into that. I think I've seen everything else except for a cog fort from him.
Oh wow, that's funny. I mean, he's very prolific. Ricky's amazing.
Oh yeah, he's got his own battle tome, which is amazing. I want to do something like that. I feel like I don't have the time to write that much.
I mean, we at the Neon heavily encourage custom battle tomes.
What do you? That's good to hear.
I think Tyler Mengel's Tomb King's custom battle tome is there. I have to upload Ricky's, and I think maybe there's a couple more. I think someone shared one either in the Dice Sagas Discord or the main Discord.
Yeah, it was Adam. His name on there, I think, is what was it now? Something Wood Elves or something like that. But yeah, he's done his own battle tome, and it's really good.
I'm curious, how do people do that? Because it looks very professionally put together.
I do everything on PowerPoint, and then it just saves as a PDF, and nobody can tell. It's not fully professional. You can see that there are things that don't look as good, but for a fan-made thing, you can get away with a lot.
I'll have to give that a shot sometime.
If you want, I can share a number of templates that I've slowly acquired from books that are transparent and everything.
Oh, please, that'd be great. That'd be really cool.
Make Matt's.
So I want to do a custom, nothing special, nothing super make your own unique faction, but just for custom rules for your own units and things. I have a custom made Liberator unit. I call them the Stormcast Executors.
Ooh,
they're basically just instead of having the standard Stormcast mask, they have a clear like a I don't know how to describe it. It's just like a maybe I'll just show it. That'll be easier.
Maybe like you mean like a knight's helmet or something?
No, it's like a blank mask kind of thing.
Oh,
and
that's so cool.
And then I paint on like a freehand on like expressions, like angry expressions or just eyes or whatever else. And things
Wait,
like
so
that.
it becomes like a theater mask almost?
Kind of, in a sense.
Ooh,
Let me see if I can dig one out.
that is creepy. How many times have these people been reforged again?
My thing with them is I say like because they wear this like pretty much opaque mask. It's because they're blind in a sense, and they have like a daredevil kind of vision. So they see groups, or they can only see what they want to attack, that kind of thing.
Or they feel the world by static electricity.
Yeah, some.
Is that it?
Exactly.
That's cool. That's really cool.
So like I want to write some sort of like special rules for that, just to kind of reflect that. So like I have what was my store here? So yeah, so they have like long purity scroll things on them. Here's one of them.
Yeah, awesome.
So what they do is they have like names that are just etched onto their purity scroll thingies, and like they hunt down these specific peoples, or these they're trying to execute these specific people.
That is really cool. I love custom made Stormcast chambers that have like a deep story and that have like a lot of converted, shout out to Shadow Claimer if you've seen the Emerald Canticle already.
Oh yeah, that stuff's so nice looking. His conversions are so spot on.
It's amazing. And he spends a lot of time and money researching which bits you want to get. He's the man who knows all your Stormcast bits. He's the person to ask. And yeah. And he's been doing this. He has an entire wiki dedicated to his storm hosts. That I need to put that in the Neon as well as a resource for people to kind of figure out one more way of doing their narrative. I'm just so stoked to start playing Soulbound. I promised myself that I wasn't going to involve more in further organizing, but I really want to play.
Yeah, Soulbound is something I want to get into eventually, but it's the dedication. We may do like a one-off episode or something like that, where it's like a dungeon crawler kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, because having a whole series and getting people and dedication. We've obviously had it before, D&D sessions where people drop in, drop out, and it's just, it's always quite hard to maintain that level of not just interest, but just people have lives, obviously outside this, so it's always quite difficult aspects of it. But no, it's for sure. I mean, I wouldn't mind participating in one and all that kind of stuff, but it's just, again, it's about the time, right?
I think for me is more the concern. Once I start, I need to prevent myself from getting sucked in. I think if I were to do it, would be like an episode. There's these people, there's one mission, and it's done by the end of the session.
That's it.
And then new people can come in. Yeah. Maybe they're paid by the same, sponsors, but they're always different people.
Yeah.
Keeping a group together stuff.
I think that's a good format. In that sense, just because, for the reasons we just talked around, then we just do like a one-off thing, and then do it like a monthly basis, something like a one-off episode where it'll be very much, like a Soulbound, good couple of hours session or something like that where we can get through.
Oh, a couple of hours, the optimism.
Depending on the mission, of course.
So I've dug one out that can see the mask fairly well. That's what I meant when I said like a faceless mask. So I've
I see the shining, but I'm not sure I can see the detail of the mask.
Give us a sec. Oh,
let me see.
Yeah, Matt.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've
There's
done
something
that.
about Stormcast masks that you can do a lot of really interesting things with them.
I don't know really. This is the most customized mask I've done, I think, with them. Other than that, I don't know. There's not much I feel like I could really do with their mask.
See, with Stormcast in general, though, I've done a few conversions, but it's more around the heads or like just little bits here and there. But again, I've not really delved too heavy in Stormcast. They've got a Warcry Warband, but yeah, I think that'll probably be it.
This is one of my more complicated conversions that'll be coming out soon.
Yes. Oh,
Nice.
yes.
Yeah.
Is that
Nice.
inspired in like Bible angels?
In a way, yes. It's more just it's just trying to imitate what the Celestin Prime has for wings. I think conversions is one of the funnest part about this hobby. You can do things that will really make your army very unique to your own.
It's most of what I do, actually. Sometimes it's to save money. I take another miniature and I convert it. Other times it's just, what do I have in my bits box? What can I do? Other times I actually go and go for and search for the bits that I want to do.
Yeah, I think for me, converting is I do it now and again. I tend to just do it for heroes more than anything. But then again, you know, I don't think I've actually. Yeah, I don't think I've got a converted unit, to be honest. I mean, I did with Fantasy back in the day and stuff like that, but with Age of Sigmar, I've not really gone into the. Well, yeah, I suppose a giant isn't a conversion that I've done, but it's a rather large monster. But yeah, I've not really focused on convert units. Yeah.
Every giant is so unique that it counts.
Yeah, I mean, hero-wise, though, I've done from a Skaven, from a Skaven Assassins. I've done a few conversions there. It's mainly around the base and scenery and stuff, which looks, well, in my opinion, looks really cool. And also, the biggest conversion that I've done for Age of Sigmar is my Mortain the Leash Emperor for my Night Haunts.
Is it this fellow that is on screen?
This guy on screen, yeah.
I've seen it before, it's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, that chap there. So I've yet to use him as well, so I'm looking forward to that.
We'll get there someday. I mean, lockdown's just come down, so I mean, we'll get a chance in the near future. Sure.
How are things in the UK, by the way?
Yeah, a lot better than like 6 months ago. A lot better.
For sure. Yeah.
So I mean, just yesterday, things have just kind of gotten more or less back to normal in a way.
Oh, normal. Wow.
Almost. Not quite normal, but like a subcategory of normal.
Yeah.
Like things are open, people can see each other. You know, it's good-ish.
Just been wondering what's the status of the opening is going to be, because people are starting. You know, they're starting to go to open game shops now. There are events that are planned. They have been planned for quite a while. That are counting on things being sort of normal.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the idea for the UK at this moment in time is by June, or like towards the end of June. It should be. This is obviously with a massive caveat around whether any different variants and all this other stuff, but it should be pretty much returned to normal by then.
Sure, we just need Papa Nurgle to just calm down a little bit. Yeah. It'll be fine.
Exactly that. How's about yourself? So, obviously you're in United States, isn't it? So, what's it like there currently?
So, currently here, the local shop that we used to play is still closed. They're trying to be very safe about this.
Yeah.
They're planning on opening soon. We still don't know when that is. And Boston and Cambridge, U.S. Cambridge,
Yeah.
they've just, I think 2 weeks ago, started now having you can go outside without a mask.
Okay.
But everyone's still confused about that. Because they're still not sure whether they should. There's some regions, some parts of the city that they just refuse and think it's not safe.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole idea behind it, right? It's just around the message being as clear as possible, because there's definitely been some interpretations, should I say, along the way of this. What he's gone through.
Most definitely. I think it's also the back and forthness of this, that people aren't very good at communicating either. So even people who aren't your big conspiracy theorists or anything, they get confused.
Yeah, it doesn't help, obviously. The media and all that stuff, and social media as well, and everyone becomes a scientist and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, I shouldn't start yet. That's.
Is it gonna go down a Pandora's box kind of thing?
But even the people who are involved in science, they start giving loads. They understand a bit more, but then they start jumping in on all sorts of opinions that I know that they're not experts on either. So suddenly everyone is discussing the merits of everything, and that's the entire discussion of the day.
I was going to say, on a bit more topical topic. So Nuno, how did you actually get into? Where did your hobby journey begin? So
the bingo question.
Yes.
That everyone has to ask. Yes. All right. Where do I start? This is a good story. I was 6 years old in primary school, and I grabbed a copy of the Fighting Fantasy books. How about that? Do you know which ones they are?
Fighting Fantasy books.
Have you guys read them?
No.
It's those green Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Oh, right. I've not heard of that specific one, but I know what kind of books you're talking about. Okay.
Who were written by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingston, who started Games Workshop. That was the perfect role-play gateway. I think that's how it started. But there wasn't really a hobby. So I'm from Portugal. There wasn't really a hobby community. I mean, you'd walk into a shop, and wargaming was just beyond you in terms of price. Even when I was in college.
Right.
I bought my first Warhammer miniatures when I was in college. But before that, I think I mostly was into geek gaming, mostly through video games, I think.
Yeah.
It was only in college that I found D&D.
Okay.
And wargaming hobby, I would say that was when I was in Edinburgh. So I lived in Scotland for 6 years. And, they have a Games Workshop shop right in the Royal Mile.
Yeah.
Right in the main tourist street.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Yeah. They had like a Goblin Town display of The Hobbit. That was huge, with loads of catwalks and suspended bridges. And you just walk by it and I said, this is amazing. So I decided, if I don't play Warhammer now, because I had miniatures, but it was mostly for D&D. If I don't play Warhammer now, I'll never play it in my life. I felt if I don't pull the trigger, it's not going to happen. And I've never looked back.
Nice. So
I've dabbled with Mordheim for a bit as well.
Yeah, Mordheim, such a good game.
So good.
Yeah.
Bigger community now than it ever has been. And there are events, Mordheim organized events, starting to pop up. I was trying to organize one, but then COVID happened. And then there's one organized in Hull.
Okay.
And I think another one in Poland. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's more.
Yeah, I remember. I've got some fond memories of Mordheim.
Do you guys play it?
I did, but it was mainly just with when I started playing, I was probably about 12 or something. Got my first box of Lizardmen, all that kind of stuff. But eventually, obviously, with Mordheim, it's like myself, my brother, and a mate, and that was about it. So we started, obviously, with the Mordheim scene. We loved it, but it's just one of those things. It's phases. So we did that, played Mordheim, and then we ended up also going back into Fantasy, and then we ended up going back to playing 40k, then back to Fantasy, then 40k, then back to Fantasy, and that kind of stuff for a period of time, whilst playing Mordheim now and again as well. So we just basically went from one game system to another, and eventually, obviously, then since obviously Age of Sigmar came out, obviously in Fantasy stops. That's pretty much where we ended up, and then it's only recently, as recent as it's going to be this weekend, I'm actually diving back into 40k. So I've got a few test miniatures that I've done, but the idea's been there for quite some time, 40k, and getting back into the scene. It's just really, obviously, the amount of time it takes to get things up and running, channel wise and other bits. And now we've got a kind of, a small community going, and I know there's interest there from others, and it's something I really want to get back into as well. We've got a forum now as well with the channel, so yeah, it's going to be awesome eventually. But anyway, that was a very long story and a bit of a should have left some breadcrumbs on that trail of thought. But going back to Mordheim, Mordheim's a great game.
So the question that I want to ask, yes, good. This is a good segue. When was did you guys still played when, I don't know, let me kind of make a bit of a test on how much you guys were following the Mordheim scene.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Did you guys ever played like the Sartosa campaign or the Border Town Burning?
Literally, we did, to say, like me and my brother and mate were to, and this obviously Mordheim was way before Matt's time in terms of hobby scene, right?
Way before me.
Yeah.
So you never got to play, Matt?
Nope.
Oh, you need to try it out. It's so deadly. It's like you can't get attached to anything. Your dudes all die.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Like
it's so good for lesson.
Yeah.
So good for narrative games, though.
Yes.
Your troops get blinded, so it's like minus ballistic skill, weapon skill, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so in terms of the actual game itself, what we did was pretty much just from the rule book and from the book itself. So we didn't venture too far into, like, we didn't game against other people, didn't go to any events, tournament, or anything like that. We were just the three of us, just having our own little scene, if you like. So, in terms of knowledge,
that's normal.
I'm assuming you would know a lot more than me regarding Mordheim in terms of like the knowledge.
Honestly, I started digging into it because I was starting to find. So I was playing D&D 3.5 and Pathfinder, and at some point I got tired of adding +1 modifiers to every single one of my monsters, running as a GM. And I said, how can I find a system that is just simpler?
Yeah,
because you can just focus more on the story. And eventually that's what led me to Mordheim and Wargaming. And with Mordheim, I started investigating, so what's out there? And it turns out that there was an entire community of people who had done a lot of like custom rules that originally were published in, there was this magazine called The Town Crier, which was actually an official GW magazine, that they published a number of supplements that people had made. So they essentially took what players had made and they kind of spruced it up. But then the whole thing kind of fell asleep because, Games Workshop itself kind of fell asleep for a while. It became much more focused in selling models that had very few articles on the website. And I think what kind of re-injected some energy before the big Facebook group started growing again was that some people got together and they made some of the best campaign supplements ever. Like Border Town Burning gives you objectives, so you have to do specific things to gain campaign points, and these are different for different objectives. So the Chaos objective, you have to gather 4 artifacts so your leader can become a demon prince, stuff like that. Other people gain points only by killing Chaos cultists. and the whole thing, the Border Town Burning is essentially set in Cathay. So it's the far east of the Warhammer world,
Yeah,
and they have like a
exactly.
Battle Monks warband. They have like all the Chaos Marauders coming in from the north,
Yeah,
and it's one of those least visited regions of the Warhammer world.
it is actually, even on Total War Warhammer as well.
Until
That's
number 3 comes out.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh yeah, people are pretty hyped about that. It's amazing how much you make a video game and suddenly the old world is profitable again.
Yeah.
It's all marketing, folks.
Yeah, I missed the boat on that one, but yeah, it's true.
Marketing can be good, can be used for good and evil.
Very true. Now I was going to say, in terms of when the end times happened and all that stuff as well, that's what got me through the transition. Because I mean, AOS, obviously, as we all know, when it first came out, wasn't exactly the products it is now. And
they had a huge potential. So
Yeah.
I've had conversations with other Neos, and the folks who were doing this in the beginning, trying to create stories in the Mortal Realms when there was no point and everything. And I look back at it as like, why didn't they just say it's the Age of Chaos? There's no allegiances. Everyone is running around. It's literally the Age of Chaos because there was no rules.
Wasn't it?
And you could use the armies as they were,
yeah,
literally, because they were all like survivors of civilization running around from chaos. It would have been perfect.
yeah, that's true.
It would have been perfect. But I think it must have been a very difficult deployment from the inside. I think it was rushed.
I mean, again, I did play and I give it a real good go. I lost a lot of, because obviously, like, people I used to game with and stuff like that, obviously they ventured off elsewhere, or they just moved on to like ninth, what it is ninth now. But yeah, I've got quite a few people reaching out back to us now who used to game against, saying, "Oh, thinking of getting thinking of getting into AOS now." So I was like, yeah, honestly, if by all means, just hit us up if you want a game and we can talk through it. And that's what kind of led us to, there's a few groups, like community groups around near where we are. And they've reached out saying, whether or not we can join and then, show us the ropes around Warcry, Age Sigmar. So these guys play also like 40K and other games as well. And yeah, they've just got kind of piqued their interest, should I say.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. Obviously seeing these guys come back because, again, great guys. Obviously just deeply hurt.
I mean, it was a rough transition.
It was.
And I don't hold beef against the company. I think just looking at what they've managed to do from a company that was very little involved with the community to what they are now. I mean, like let's not think about this anymore. Let's just go forward for good things. That's my attitude.
Yeah, adapt, change, go with the flow. But I think with the that's why I was going on to Total War Warhammer, because that certainly did help with that transition. Because again, I was streaming games towards that end, and yeah, I ended up streaming so much of that game just because I knew all the lore, I loved it, and obviously the gameplay, Total War Warhammer, so Total War games, I loved those as well, from Total War Rome, Shogun, all that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, as soon as Warhammer came out, I was like, oh, this is it. This is it. And then it kind of lit a fire under me then to get going on with AOS and just trying it out as well, because it's a brand new game. But then it's difficult trying to find opponents.
Interesting. So Total War Warhammer led to more people joining AOS.
Well, in terms of just finding out what's going on, and then knowing that Total War Warhammer Fantasy doesn't exist, that you're then like, oh, I know Manfred. Oh, I know Neferata. Obviously, soon Neferata and Total War, but some other characters as well, and it kind of led them just to think, what else? What other characters are there that that I know, and kind of just the main thing is just try to get them into a game. and I think they'll like it. So you just have to Cities of Sigmar and all that jazz. The older models, older model ranges where they can recognize it rather than being too high fantasy. Some of the miniatures, they was like, oh, I know those guys, and then let's give it a go.
That's why I say there's a lot of people that obviously everyone has opinions, but I think Warhammer is one of the few kind of fantasy intellectual properties that still leans into that sort of Renaissance feeling with the Free Guild, and I think it would be such especially now that the free cities are something that is established. I find it's really sorry that some people think that that's kind of old hat, needs to go away, and it's like, why? I mean, sure, you can make like anachronistic criticisms. It doesn't make sense for the poofy shirts and the feathers and everything.
Why doesn't it? That's the thing, though, because
I don't care.
Come on.
Exactly. Anything in the mortal realms can exist, right?
Yeah, exactly that. But one thing I'd love is if they brought out more variety of mortals for cities, because
conversion sprues.
There you go.
That'd be cool. That'd be very cool.
Imagine a conversion sprue for free cities of Gur.
Yeah.
All with like weird stuff, kind of, a Venn diagram with untamed beasts, Warcry Warband.
That's it. Just make it very, color schemes, all that, your own conversion. But that would be awesome if they did something like that.
I think from things, I don't know if I'm right. You hear, there's a lot of hearsay about like what the decision process is at Games Workshop. And I think that a lot of things happen because there's somebody pushes forward and it's somebody's passion project instead of always being this concerted vision. And I don't know, it may be that, some people were just kind of going through the motions of what people were asking from the top. And maybe now it's become more passion driven and more networky, but it's all a mystery.
Yeah, there always will be. They're not going to be opening their doors anytime soon to let people know their thought process or anything. It's like with the whole cities, not cities, Cursed City shenanigans.
They have taken control of the rumor mill, though. That has been impressive.
Yeah. This is coming along quite nicely now. I'm liking it.
What, the boat?
You can, just like, there you go. Basically, contrast, Grif Charge, grey. Off we go.
I've become jealous of not having grabbed that boat yet.
Oh, it's so honestly. When I built it, I was like, "How big is this thing?" It's insane.
I have a big ghost vampire boat that I wanted to convert for like vampirates. That is a Pirates of the Caribbean toy. It's huge. And I still have to give it the paint job on top. But that boat is great for conversions.
Yeah, I can imagine. To be honest, though, it did take me by surprise. And apparently, you can have like 2 on the tabletop as well. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be a. Although I did say, me and Matt talks about it because I was saying I need to play test it first, see what benefits and how it's going to work and the feasibility for us to get like another ship. Because obviously I don't want to make it ridiculous.
Don't forget, we're not playing on like a full-size table.
No, exactly that. So, it needs to rein it in a bit and think about that aspect as well.
Oh, because you can place the 2 halves, right, and create 2 of them.
Yeah, you can create 2 of them, but you can also get 2 of the... You can piece them so they can be together. And if they're together, and then you can actually get another whole ship and put it elsewhere as well. So it's...
I mean, it's the incentive for you to buy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see. We'll see. To be honest, painting it's not really. It's just a lot to paint, but it's simplistic. Well, my approach, my approach is simplistic. But yeah, it's just a lot to paint. That's the only thing.
I just wanted to get it to chop it up and make a Necrofex Colossus. One advice on the Shrine Luminor:
Yeah.
this seam that they got here, where you join. I've been trying to cover this thing with green stuff for ages. I'm not sure you guys can see. I've been trying to cover it, but the seam just doesn't go away.
That looks like a big model, that. In your hands, anyway. Yeah.
I mean, I really wanted the floating island, yeah.
Oh, that is so good, that, though. The idea of the floating island's pretty sweet. Like that.
So it's now got a surface that you can sit on top.
Oh, yes. Oh, that'd be epic. Yeah, I've got to do. I think after this, I've got. Because again, I don't even know what points. How many points I've got of identity at this point? I've got a king. I've got the box, £50 box of the starter set, and the king, and I think that's it actually. So obviously it's not like a large force that I've got at the moment, but it'd be enough to ease them into Warcry games, and slowly does it.
Yeah, definitely. You don't really need that much for Warcry generally.
No, exactly, and that's one aspect about Warcry, and how we play it. Of course, is it's just a great way to introduce, like a new faction coming in, or even if it's like building slowly towards an army, you can use them in Warcry, which is awesome.
Dude, I think you guys do a great job on that, because I think more people should be kind of feel more enthusiastic of starting not an army, but a force that they just like, and find a way to play it, and then evolve it naturally. I know the meeting engagements at 1,000 points didn't really take off, but I felt that I think that's what the hobby needs. Most people who play D&D, I don't know, maybe I'm just speaking for myself. I think it's always the price barrier and the amount of minis you need to own to even play that keeps people out.
I agree. Sorry, Matt, were you going to say something?
Yeah, definitely, because I mean that's kind of what kept me out of the hobby for so long. It was the price and just the daunting mass of it, and that's probably what kept people out of fantasy originally. Because if you're aiming at like people, late teens, early 20s, under 30s, basically, they're not going to have that much disposable income to buy a 60 unit worth of free guild whatevers just to have on the field. It's not going to happen, right? Yeah, exactly. Clan Wrath. That's not going to happen. So I mean, like, to have the model count reduced down to what AOS is now, and sometimes like the things like, for example, Warcry. I mean, that helps a lot. It's like a starter kit or a starter, whatever, gets people into it.
It's exactly that, Matt, as well, because we've got basically got like a family member who's never played, always after work comes into shops and all that stuff, and I've shown him around, and so he's always had interest, but he's never really had it just seemed too daunting. But now it's like, does he want to he's like, now I've told him about Warcry aspects, and he's like, oh, you know what, I might give that a go. So he's going to come around not next weekend, weekend after or something, and we're going to have a game of Warcry, make a night of it, and just ease him into it, and we'll see how it goes, of course. But I think he'll like it. To be honest, it's just the whole, as you said, the whole barrier in terms of actually just the entry level.
It's also the people who play now have adult money, so that also changes a lot of things. Because when you're a student or you're in college, it's just, money's tight.
Yeah, always. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's still tight for many people even afterwards, so let's not forget that as well.
Yes, very much so.
Actually, that's why I think that the strategy of allowing low model count games as much as possible is always a winning strategy. Yes, you always will want to push more, but I don't think you even need to force players to do that. They will do that almost naturally because they want more. You don't need to make it a requirement of the game.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, Nagash has just poked his head in the chat again.
All hail
Bonjour.
Sigmar.
Bonjour.
All hail Sigmar.
Nagash is all and all is Nagash.
Nagash is not all. Let's need
All,
to
all
make
are
sure.
one. All are one in Nagash. That's the quote.
That is it. That is it. Every time he comes on, you got to give him a bit of
grief.
shit. Yeah.
I'm
Normally comes on.
disappointed. Where is Paul B?
He usually shows up around this time, I think.
I know.
Yeah, he
I
does.
feel like he rushes home from work or something and just jumps on.
Yeah,
I like our regulars. It's fun.
yeah, it's always good.
No, I'm really happy that you guys maintain like a lot of community engagement because very often I don't know if this has the difference of Twitter and Discord, is that Twitter is much more personal. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. It's people who know people and they keep talking. There's some public conversation, I think, but when you have like either a Facebook group or a Discord group, I feel it's more like a living room.
Yeah, a bit more of a public forum rather than like a private conversation. Which is weird because I mean Twitter's pretty open, isn't it?
I think maybe that's the thing is too open, so it almost feels like each person is individually screaming into the void, and sometimes some people kind of give you a high five and then fly off.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, to combat that. There are I tend to reach out to people in private chats as well, just dropping a line, just saying, you're like, if say for instance, if we really like their work and other stuff, I'm always retweeting and get people's models shown as well, because there's so many cool stuff out there. And then if sometimes I reach out to him personally as well and just get a conversation going, get a kind of interest flowing back and forth. And here we go. Nagash is all, and all
there we go.
is one in Nagash.
I mean, the Neon is out there to advertise you guys as much as possible, because this is the thing. You guys don't even need to do anything. Just by existing and doing what you do, you literally support narrative type gaming. Like I said, narrative is the spectrum. And just by you guys, Keegan, the Animosity Crowd, Narrative Labs, because it's an option, right? Everyone does something slightly different, and simply by you guys running the community that you do, it gives it something for people to get involved in, and it's amazing that it works so well.
No, I appreciate it, and to be honest, it's one aspect for sure. Hold on, I need to get rid of this Nagash's comment of it's making my brain just like.
Please get that off the screen. Ban that man.
Yeah. No, honestly, it's one of the aspects though. It's just I don't know. It's just for me, I've not once in this. Again, we've been at it for about 7 months, so it's not been like a very long time at all. But I've never felt fatigued. I've never felt bored. I've never felt like I don't want to do it. It's just I'm always excited and ambitious, and I'm like, oh, what about this? Oh, we can do this. Let's get going and building and doing stuff. And it's just now I'm just like, I've got work in the way, priorities.
Dude, I'm happy to hear that, because I get concerned about people burning out, because we've seen that with organizers and people who want to do a lot of things, and they eventually burn out, and it's hard, especially with the lockdown. It was very difficult on people.
No, I can imagine. Nagash as well, if you're still in chat, mate, how was your Vermintide stream? Did you? Because obviously, I'm assuming you went to the Chaos Waste again.
That was actually surprisingly very fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Hurt a lot.
I need to watch more Vermintide to kind of like see the storyline. I haven't.
Vermintide, it's a fun game. It's one of those where you can just pick up, play for like half hour, 20 minutes, or even hour or something. It's not like you have to exude too much energy. It's just fun. If you want to just switch off for a bit as well, just have a bit of fun playing, just killing a lot of Skaven, Beastmen, Chaos Warriors, all that kind of good stuff, then yeah, Vermintide's great. In fact, yeah, Nagash invited us on his channel to, of which we obviously participated, but to play Vermintide as well. That was fun.
What I want is that somebody release at some point an Age of Sigmar game where you can do kind of co-op games, and people just use it for roleplay, like they do for games like Rust and other like games that streamers really like. That they just go in and they just do co-op gaming for laughs.
Yeah, that's it.
Because it's a great accessory if you run a campaign, or you have like a bunch of people in the community and they just like try to create their characters and they just interact with each other in role play just for kicks.
No, for sure. I've really gone for a simplistic approach to this boat. Everything is contrast. Grif Charge, love it.
Oh my god, that's surprising. Everything's contrast. Wow.
I thought it was isn't it an ethereal effect?
Yeah,
It's simple. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But no, Matt knows full well that I never use contrast, so it's
No, I've never heard of it. Heresy.
By the way, speaking of doing like Age of Sigmar roleplay, giving here a shout out to the Animosity folks again. They've created 2 establishments in their campaign. There are 2 Discord channels. One is the Epicurean, which is a fine dining soul food restaurant that is manned by an Ossiarch Bone Reaper, and the other one is a fast food restaurant called Five Guys, Nurgle, and Flies.
Oh god,
That is manned by 5 Blight Kings, and it serves your fast, greasy food. And that's where you go to get rumors in the campaign.
I like that. That's fun.
They've done menus for it. It's ridiculous.
That's awesome. That's dedication.
It's it's a lot of fun. Also, Crab is, Animosity was going crazy with Crab before Crabnos. You've heard of this. Everyone's going crazy about the new Crab model.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This was not a plan. Like, we've been talking about Crab in Animosity, like some Crab God or Crab God Beast for like 4 or 5 months, and then this happens.
So Nagash says, dead rats everywhere. That's good.
It's usually how that turns out.
Yeah, it's a fun hack and slash with your mates. I couldn't agree more. It's exactly what Vermintide is.
So what are you guys going to do when the Interstice becomes full?
Full? Oh, it's not going to happen for a while. What do you mean by full? You mean like on the map?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's when we start having to siege a lot more places.
Becomes more war-torn because it's becoming more populated.
Well, I mean, that's how it works, right? Once land becomes a scarcity, people have to fight for it. So you want to set up a new settlement? Well, you're going to have to beat up that army over there. Good luck.
Oh, and you had mentioned, Matt, I think, that the Interstice slowly grows by acquiring more matter from other realms.
Yeah.
Is that true?
So like whenever, so basically idea behind the Interstice is whenever realm gates get destroyed or lose power or whatever else sort of cataclysmic thing happens with them, it sucks in basically the land mass around it, or
Sweet.
it can, and then it just plops into the Interstice. And that's how you make it. So whenever things happen in the canon, such as things that a certain shadow demon has done, that will cause the Interstice to expand exponentially.
Spoiler for the viewers, yeah,
a bit more tactful than I was yesterday.
Yeah, quite a bit more.
I just tore off the band-aid and I was like, whoops.
No, I loved that. I was reading that book. I was glued to the book, and I couldn't believe that the book was that good. I was like, they did what?
Hmm.
I was like, oh my god, people soulbound campaigns out there like pulling their hairs because they're gonna have to deal with this thing that has changed things forever.
Yep. Good luck.
So can you break apart the piece of the Interstice?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, if you look at the map of what happened between Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, basically Chris had this great idea of attacking this mountain. That's a part of the Hish side, or Highish side of the realm. Used his night haunts, took it over, corrupted the mountain, and of course he exploded it, thus tearing... As you do. So if you look at the map, if you notice the bottom left corner side, where it's just kind of like trails of purple leading away from a point, the mountain used to be at that area, which I've called the Sulcus of Vadalus. And when the mountain exploded, the peak of the mountain went eastwards, or right side, and it ended up being the Broken Crown, which is near the middle of the map now. Whereas the other pieces of the landmass, because physics, went the other way, went westwards, and those are called the Xiphoid Peninsula and the Phalanges, I think.
Yeah.
Because anatomy.
I need to read up on this better because there's quite a things I think that I've missed already. That's interesting.
I'm trying to make it like an evolving thing. So like, if people want to catch up with it, great. If you don't, if you want to just get stuck into what's going on now, also okay. But like, there's a story behind what's going on, and I have plans for what Chapter 3 will bring, depending on what happens.
Yeah.
Depending on how the battles unfold.
Mm-hmm. I actually look at it as from a logistics point of view. It's kind of a map campaign, but it's not. But the only thing you need to change is an image. Mm-hmm. In terms of logistics, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like something that anyone in their local group can do as well for whatever region they decide to fight over. All you need to do is keep updating the image.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, my initial idea was like, I initially wanted to put this on like one of the local clubs, or maybe just even the Games Workshop, just in the store really, and have it as like a campaign map. And if you just laminate it and then wipe out or use dry erase markers, mark out where your faction is, whatever, and you can expand certain ways, get pushed back other ways, whatever.
I wonder if that could work better if Games Workshop even like released it as their official way of playing, because people like official things for some reason.
Games Workshop, if you're listening, feel free to hire me. I'm all for it.
Now there's been another like hiring round recently for like several like developer jobs and things.
I'd love to, but already got a career lined up, so don't think I can really run that. This was like 20 years ago, not 20 years ago, but like 10, 15 years ago, potentially, but not right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I myself have appreciated a lot more a career reinvention than I contemplated, say, a year and a half ago. COVID
really?
makes people think a lot. Yeah.
I suppose, yeah.
Because it makes you think, all right, is this going to work with my age? It's, how much free time am I going to get to do the things I enjoy? Yeah. You kind of start thinking, because this ain't your parents' career progression anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. The world's changed quite a bit now.
Mm-hmm. I've just fallen more in love with the hobby. It's therapeutic.
Oh, dear Lord, that was an effort, but it's done. Oh, no, it's
I
not.
think that's kind of the ultimate goal, ultimate career, isn't it? To find something that you really enjoy and have that as your work. And hopefully continue to enjoy it.
That is, you've hit the nail right on the head, exactly. Yeah. Very often the direction you think you're going, it could work, but but the world has changed, and nobody wants to kind of admit that things have changed. And what you were pursuing, you could still get it, but you need to sacrifice a lot of things that they don't tell you, especially if it's a competitive field. A lot of choices. I sound like an old man. I'm like this, guys.
No, it's all good. I think in terms of like career and all that kind of stuff, I mean, again, you grow, well, like financially, like your mortgage, you got obviously wife, kids, all kind of jazz, and then you grow, and obviously you get to an age where like you think, oh yeah, it'd be great to actually do full time and all that kind of stuff. Be like, could I get as much money as I do in this full-time job? And like, because your lifestyle changes with obviously the money and all that stuff that you earn as well. So it's like, yeah, it's a sacrifice, and it's one that's possible if you're financially sound in that sense.
Yeah, I think you're with the house and a mortgage, you're assuming a lot.
Well, no, yeah, but I'm saying in general, like if depending on where you are, obviously in terms of life and all that kind of stuff. But for me personally, it's not possible. This is my second job, a hobby job, in that sense. Kitten, howdy.
Oh, Kitten, welcome back, Kitten.
Yes, welcome. In fact, Pete was on earlier as well. Yeah, it's funny, he dived in, then had to dive out straight away. It's had work, but yeah, so just missed him before you joined, Matt.
Oh, that's too bad.
But yeah, there you go. Ship. Which is looking pretty tasty. And then just got to do some colourful fishes on there. Bit of a... Yeah, I've got to do the shells and all that jazz as well. So there's still plenty to do on that. But yeah, decent progress at least. So, Kitten, what are you doing this fine night? Even it's like 11:10 here. Nice Boaty McBoat face, yeah. Love it. Oh,
have you come across with player submissions that veer into that territory?
I've had one or two like joke ones, yeah. On like YouTube.
But that's on brand for Warhammer.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just thinking actually whether they've actually had any. I mean, on YouTube, like in the chat, there's a load of banter and all that stuff, with like names flying everywhere and just having a good laugh. But I think in terms of submissions, no, don't think we have. We've had one guy who actually submitted a character, which is a massive testament. He's put it on his chat, he's put it on his socials and all that stuff. But basically, one of his friends passed away, and he named his character after his friend, and introduced that into the Pocket Realm kind of stuff as well, and just see it as like a tribute kind of thing, and obviously named it after him and all that kind of stuff. And I thought that was just amazing. So we will be doing a obviously community lore video for him as well, especially it's such an epic thing that he's done there as well. So yeah, but just stuff like that, it's amazing just hearing stories and how people do things with the hobby as well that relate to their personal life and other stuff. It's just it's one of the many great things about this hobby is how it affects us all and how we utilize it as well. It's like even like mental health and all that stuff as well. It's so many different things that you get out of the hobby. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm here today with you guys right now because of that, actually.
Yeah.
Because I was as part of this career old man conversation that we were just having in 2018. I was getting involved with the narrative organizers, but there was one of them, the organizer who was running it, was running the Nova Open Grand Narrative, was trying to convince me to come to Nova, which is the big. It's in the big convention at the Nova Open. and this has been running every year.
Mm.
And I was like, oh no, man, I'm in a really tricky project right now. There's somebody who's come over from Spain to work with me, blah blah blah. And it's like, oh man, we'll be so sorry that you don't come. And I was super stressed. My stress levels were through the roof. And I felt, you know what, I have this trip booked. Screw this. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that I almost missed doing that. It was, I think it was the coolest event I've ever been. I'd never been to a convention
awesome.
actually before that. And I've now made friends, maybe for life.
Yeah.
Lots of people that I met through there involved doing really, really cool things. And, it almost didn't happen because I was more focused on work.
That's it.
This is not an endorsement for. Remember, kids, don't give up work because of your hobby. It's not an endorsement.
Stay in school.
Exactly, stay in school.
Yeah.
But you have to kind of think about your priorities because I'm just surrounded by a lot of people who are very career focused.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of like decide your priorities for yourself.
For sure, and it's one massive learning curve, especially with the channel as well, and obviously obviously both of us full-time jobs and other stuff going on. That, I mean, it's like now, staying up. We stay up till about say like 1:30 or 1, or sometimes give or take, doing these kind of streams because we love doing it and we make time for the hobby. Because I could easily be in bed like now, got work tomorrow. But because I really enjoy this, I really enjoy the hobby, the connections, and all that kind of stuff. You make sacrifices, but at the same time, it's well worth it, for sure. And obviously, you just got to push. You got to keep on driving. Kitten, finish some Siege. So going to paint my Assault Intercessor unit. Oh yeah, this is for your doubles tournament, right? With Pete.
Siege, nice.
Which is going to be, you have to let us know how you get on. I'll speak with Pete, of course, on that. But that sounds. Obviously, wish you guys the best of luck for that tournament.
Have you guys tried the AOS Siege rules yet?
No. I think I don't know. Matt is on mute. I think he's.
Yes, there was a bit of a crying in the background.
Yeah, a bit of a commotion.
One, I think Kitten meant Rainbow Six Siege. I could be wrong.
Oh, okay.
But to answer your question, no, I've not tried a siege yet, just because I don't have any terrain that would make a good castle. But I would love to play a siege, like I said.
So they actually made it so that you don't need a castle. They say you can use any terrain piece.
Yeah, but like to make it look nice. I'm all about the aesthetic.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have a siege on like an encampment. It just doesn't seem right, though.
I see.
So we'll get there. We'll get there, though. Hopefully.
Yeah. Nagash saying there, if only YouTube paid well, it would be nice.
Would help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always have to think of the return of like time invested plus money you get out of it. Yeah.
I don't like to think about that because it's very depressing.
Yeah.
But then again, that's why you got to love what you do first, and
exactly
that'll come through. Because otherwise, if me and Matt think about the hours we sunk into Dice Sagas, and we think our return investment, we're like
pretty deep in the red. Deep in the red.
Deep in the red, indeed. But it's because we love doing it. That's the thing. So hence why we keep at it.
So one thing that I can tell you, and I don't know if this is considered kind of a return of what you do, you could see yourselves in 2 years from now, because you guys have done this. You've changed how people interact with AOS forever. I don't know, that's hard to measure what it means, but you could change how people go out and play games even.
That'd be cool. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, you can write that underneath. Let me just get the website back for you. You can add that to there if you.
Yeah, I mean,
the way you play. Visit Dice Sagas.
I mean, but that's true. You know, I'm a product of the people who first kicked off the Neon and the kind of stuff that I've done, events that I've ran, and people that I've kind of, hey, you should talk to person X. It's all because of that. You start and it becomes like a snowball, and it's bigger now than it ever has been.
No.
So,
sure.
I'm not mentioning it just as a pipe dream kind of like, you don't know what could happen.
I mean, to be honest, we're talking about terrain a second ago, but I just love that terrain right there. That giant skeletal image right there. Oh, so good.
So this was organized by Steve Wren. So this Warhammer Achievements was at Blood and Glory. It was the narrative tournament at Blood and Glory. So you have to do you win by winning all sorts of crazy achievements during the games, and there's like a huge checklist. And he's actually the events manager at Warhammer World. So he's been doing narrative style games for quite a while. Cool. If you reload the page, that more of them will show up actually, other events, because I've set it that way.
Yeah, no worries.
And the kind of stuff that shows up is just amazing. If you just click the top banner or something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm just pressing a. There you go.
There we go.
I need to refresh. I was pressing F5 to refresh because that's refreshing. But yeah, click on the banner.
So this is what the folks at Realms at War have done. This was the surprise that they sprang on their players in the last day of the event. They've done all these crazy gigantic beasts that they just put on the table. It was amazing to see because we all saw this from a distance. Like this happened. This has been going on for 4 years in Cambridge. Yeah. Like you guys can go. That's the thing. You have to know it, but you guys can go.
Hero drive.
So bad?
No, that's cool. Yeah, make it.
You only do it once a year, of course.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I love that.
So actually, all over there, you have like resources, like to teach people how to run events if they don't know anything, and you have loads of rules packs of all these events that I've ran, so people can just like grab them all if they want to have access. So that was the Nova Open, our 18 feet long siege wall.
Wow.
I was so tired. We had 30-minute turns. Every turn was 30 minutes, and there was like, I don't know, 20 people aside or something, or 15.
That's epic.
It's an experience, exactly. It's kind of, you can't describe it.
You're not going to forget it, right?
No.
You're never going to forget that.
It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. No, I was going to say, so Kitten, and I'll keep up with the picks for you guys. That'll be awesome. Send those through. That'll be sweet. Nagash, do it for the community, very much so as well. So that's what we're here for as well. Obviously, we love doing it. The whole Dice Sagas channel and interacting with the community, and then obviously the community ideally gets something out of it as well, gets their stories told, heard, and all that kind of good stuff, which is an interactive with ours, which is awesome. But yeah, and going back to this siege thing, I remember having one of my most treasured memories of wargaming was as a game against my brother, and again it was mate when I was younger, and we did Lord of the Rings strategy, Middle Earth strategy battle game, and it was Helm's Deep. So it had all the Uruk High. Honestly, it took hours. It took hours to play, but it's such an epic game. It's so good. And that's always just going to stick in my head. It's had like Aragorn and Gimli down at the front gate, just slashing, hacking, and he managed to get over the walls and stuff. It's just so good.
I've been waiting to find a community where the locals would actually do that. And some of the folks that we've met through Animosity, one of them told us that, oh yeah, we have that all the time. What do you mean? It's like, oh yeah, our Games Workshop store manager, he just gets us together like an entire day, massive battle, and we just play a game, or like a huge siege game the whole day with massive number of points. With like there was no tomorrow. He was kind of like, oh yeah, sure, that happens all the time. He's like, are you aware how lucky you are?
No, for sure.
Yeah, that's the resources page.
Yeah, I was just browsing. So up to the guys in the chat now, or people who watch it afterwards, obviously check in the link in the description below. That'll take you to this website, and yeah, you'll find all kinds of cool stuff in there.
And we have our podcast, which releases whenever the winds of magic blow. You'll find out eventually. But it's evergreen content. There's like we interview other narrative organizers. We show the stuff that they've done, because that's the thing. Like seeing these tables is just expands your possibilities, because you don't know it can be done, and you can attract people like that. And yeah, and I would be more than happy to have you guys at some point for you guys to discuss the Interstice and explain the potential that it can have for players to engage.
Yeah, that'll be sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely up for that.
Like when I clear the backlog.
Yeah, of course. But no, I'm just thinking, like, it's looking at this, obviously the siege wall here.
Looks so awesome.
Oh,
Looks so fun to play.
But this section here, and obviously it's like the ball's broken down and barreling through. I'm like, shit.
There was an effect that so these were GM'd games, and the organizer said at some point one of the 666 chains that bind Slanesh has broken loose, and there's a wave of magic washing over the battlefield, and something just happened. And that was the reason, I think, why Archeon was in the battlefield or something.
That's cool.
And
that's just epic looking. It's fantastic.
No, it's so good.
And so we're trying to keep track of like all upcoming narrative events, because that's the hard part. People don't know where to go, and which I think is going to be much easier with interacting with you guys, interacting with the Weave and with Animosity. It's going to become much easier. And we're trying to kind of keep like a calendar and where events are. So also, if you want to run an online event, you might want to not overlap with them. So the people that attend it are actually free when you run yours.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No, there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Did you guys spot this map campaign in White Dwarf that came out last year?
No.
Oh, Hollows. Yeah, I saw that. That was really nice.
I didn't even knew.
I got like a couple of the issues. I think I got the issues specifically for this, just because it was very interesting. I forget what the name of the guy that was introducing it, but he had a lot of interesting ideas about it, and I really liked it. Yeah, that specifically, the grid with the circles, with like, if you go up a little bit, that. Because like, I think if I remember correctly, you can have like, where you have bonuses or certain effects if you hold a certain area, or like it affects the game in some certain way if you are playing on that map specifically. It just makes it so much more interesting. Like it adds a factor into the game.
So to further emphasize the point of like how much of a spectrum narrative gaming and match play is, I actually found this out because a blog of competitive match play players, Plastic Crack, they actually highlighted this. So I found this through a competitive AOS player blog showcasing this. I said, how did I miss this? And they say, this is just a vehicle because our games are still, we're getting practice for tournaments, where it's a bigger framework that also tests your skills at, flexibility in making tactical decisions and so on. So there's a lot that people can cross-pollinate.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, if you're playing competitively, it's fine if you want to play, your best in perfect conditions and whatnot. But what if you're playing in like conditions which are against you? How do you overcome that? That builds your ability to adapt, builds your strategy a bit better. I think it makes you a better, stronger player at that point.
Yes, I completely agree. And the cool thing is that this passed me by, but Halost is like the Valhalla of Shaiish. It's amazing. You get brought back to life at the end of the day, even if you died, so you can fight again. It's a really cool thematic tidbit.
Great narrative bit in that you can just, narratively you could have your guys go in there fighting infinite amounts of times. You can die epically so many other times, and there's no major consequence to it. So you can have epic games where everyone's dying. Tell epic tales, epic stories, and it just repeats. It's like Groundhog's Day.
Oh, I hadn't thought about it. Your hero comes back on the 6th. That's the rule. That's the realm rule. You roll every turn. On the 6th, the hero comes back.
Oh, I didn't see that. I don't remember that.
Yep.
That's cool.
That's how powerful it is. Yeah.
So Nagash, as lockdown restrictions ease and we play games again, me and my gaming mates are switching to more narrative games instead of competitive, as we just find them more fun with compelling lore.
Yes, Nagash. Convert.
Rather
Convert.
than whoever wins is all that matters. Yep.
Convert, Nagash.
Convert. Yeah, I love it.
And that's the thing. I mean, I wish I could have tried out so many things that have come out in like General's Handbooks, like the sky battles you guys were mentioning. There's so many, and it can be even fully competitive. I always speak kind of to both camps because it's always good to introduce more people to kind of broaden their mind. And there's so much out there that I wish I could try. I need to run more events.
That's it.
My last event was an urban battle. There was this Warcry and AOS event. It was essentially the previous events. People have gone down to storm vaults using the Forbidden Power rules, and the event ended because they had to fight the Karen Hydra, which is one of the monsters that is in the storm vault underneath Hammerhall. And I mean, they decided the outcome. They released the beast, and the beast went up and destroyed the district, and then went out into the sea. That's how I resolved the canon. So the next development, the next event was essentially a quarantine. This now sounds like a bad joke because this was way before COVID. This was in the January before January of 2020. And it was essentially kind of urban combat Les Miserables style in the streets of Hammerhall.
Oh, that sounds cool.
With monsters and endless spells kind of roaming the streets because they burst out of the storm vault.
That sounds awesome.
I was so exhausted after the terrain building for that event.
Yeah. I think that whenever you start doing a commission for your terrain.
Never, I think. I
remember talking on Discord.
I mean, if that could be, I'm seriously considering, like, I'm trying to follow the trends of, geek gaming has changed a lot. In my country, when I left in 2010, I went to Scotland. You had like one gaming shop that actually had space to play, maybe two in Lisbon. I came back like 3-4 years ago. No, 3 years ago. There's 4, 5. They keep opening. I don't know if it's that sweet tech hub startup money that they're getting now, but I just see more and more stores opening. So I'm seriously considering if I could make the transition to potentially find the funds to open a gaming space. Maybe not even a shop, but a space like a cafe or something like that.
Yeah.
And how
Something
much
I
would
would like
people
that.
be interested in like you make amazing tables and you run great events? I don't know if that's a business model that works, but
Oh, for sure. It's something. Again, I speak with the wife often on it, and I'm like, "Let's do it. Let's do it." and she's like, don't think, just do it."
I mean, I don't even know what to say because I'm just trying to finish a project here before we leave back to Europe. And I was talking to my wife. I was like, "Oh, there's a lot of people like applying to the GW jobs that are now open. It's interesting." And she turns to me and is like, "Why don't you apply?" And I just look at her like, "What? What? What are you saying?" Essentially, drop everything.
Don't tempt me.
Exactly. Because what I want, I go back to Europe and I try to like nail a job in the same area just to kind of have a place to land and see where I go from there. Probably thinking on and staying in the same field of work or similar, and just spending more attention to my hobby and the local community of hobbyists. But to suggest, oh, you should apply for a job. Ooh, that's a big life change. I'm not sure I've prepared. It was interesting. I was not expecting. Now, she's very brave when it comes to life decisions in terms of career. I've been trying to learn from her.
That's good to get some of that supportive, though.
This is it, and obviously, well, we're obviously talking wives at the moment, but in terms of the well, obviously Matt, you know her, but she basically went to uni, she went to did a master's, not PhD, she did a master's and all that stuff in business. Went to an office, worked there, and then hated it with a passion. So I said, okay, what is it you want to do? So because obviously I'm working full time, we can make it. I can cover us both. What is it you want to do? And then she wanted to be makeup artist. I was like, sweet, right? What do you need to do it? And then she went into start doing into brand new school again, all this other stuff, and basically started from the basically right at the bottom, worked her way up. And she works on tons of jobs for free. She did like some Netflix stuff and BBC and other bits. And then now she's like a fully fledged makeup artist working for like, JD TV commercials, other bits like that. And it's just like, but it's obviously absolutely amazing work that she's done. But obviously she having that kind of fallback where I just said, go do it. I can cover us. I said, if it doesn't happen in 2 years, if she don't start earning a bit of money or progress in 2 years, then we have to rethink. But she made it work and everything like that with, utter driven and determination. And I'm assuming that driven and determination was because she hated working in an office.
I mean, congratulations to her, and a stellar husband. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's because it's one of those things where I was just, in all honesty, I just wanted to. Don't get me wrong, I'm slightly jealous, obviously, because flipping, she's doing something. It's her hobby, and she loves doing it, and she's making money from it, and all that kind of stuff. And hence why now she's very flexible with me and my hobby time, and doesn't like, oh no, you can't do it. Oh, let's go out and do something. Blah blah blah. I said, I'm doing hobby, cool. And there you go. It's that kind of give and take.
No, but that's exactly what I've sniffed is that you have to kind of decide like what is making you happy, right, in your life, career, whatever. Yeah. Like how can you reach a point where you're satisfied, and pulling the plug, it requires a huge amount of bravery, right? Because you work, our generation, we're kind of like built and taught that there's like a path. Yeah. But then there's no path. It's just nobody knows how things actually work, but they tell you it'll be all right. And you then have to kind of make a decision. Yeah, I feel. That's great to hear. I think we're going to start seeing more stories like that of more people veering from whatever they studied for to essentially pursue either passion projects or things that they really love doing or entire new businesses. And I think what people, I don't know if the UK discusses this as much as the US. I think in the US they discuss more how skills are more transferable when you have degrees and stuff.
So,
like you can apply it to different things.
What, like Would you mean like graduate schemes kind of stuff? Oh.
Yes, like I think you do a degree and there's like a major. I don't know this either because I didn't study here. You have your major, but like you having a degree is a stamp of approval that you can do already many. It's a sort of, you're a person that can deal with X amount of things, I suppose.
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not is another story, but that's the attempt.
Yeah, that's true. So, gosh. Only one way to find out, Nuno. I'm assuming that was we're talking
pull the trigger,
jumping into it kind of stuff. I'm assuming.
So the joke from Alex Polomeni and the rest of the Animosity team, thank you. That'll be good. Good. I'm starting to raise my future Kickstarter slowly, ever so slowly. Networking. So what the Animosity team has been making fun of me of is that because they say you've been saying that for too long. Now we're going to force you to go back to Edinburgh and open your shop. That's what they've been telling me. And Edinburgh is a gaming mecca. It's impressive. When I was there, they opened the first gaming cafe like as a very experimental thing. I was like, oh my god, is this going to work? Within 1 year, 4 more had opened. It was a gold mine. Or at least it created a lot of movement. People were just waiting for it. It's very interesting to see.
Yeah, to be honest, though, as well. I mean, we're obviously touching Edinburgh at the moment, but such a beautiful city as well.
So good. I miss it so much.
Mm.
You know, it has all
there
the...
at least once a year.
Oh, that's great, man. Have you done the catacombs?
Yeah. Yeah. We went on a ghost tour as well.
Yes. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Don't go to the castle, dear viewers. It's a ripoff.
True.
Go to Craig Miller Castle, which is a little bit out of the way, but it's better.
Yeah. It's a nice little spot as well. For the life of me, I can't remember what it's called, but we went to the GW store in Edinburgh, and me and Jo, the wife, and we ended up, we were just asking you, like, is there anywhere that's kind of close by where it's like a kind of a beach? Because again, the wife, she wanted to just, not sunbathe or anything, she just wanted to go have a, basically by the ocean side kind of thing, or by a lake or whatever. But so the guy was saying, so he recommended this place. It's actually near where he lived, and so we just hopped on a train, went there, and apparently as well, what the guy had told us is that they actually filmed the what is it? The new Amazon Lord of the Rings series. They've actually done a bit of filming, actually from not Lord of the Rings. Sorry, it's Game of Thrones. The Game of Thrones series, yeah. So they've done the filming on this little island with a castle kind of thing as well. And so just going there and seeing that, I was like, that's sweet. I'm going to keep my eye open for that when when that comes out.
Oh, that's pretty cool. No, I have to say, looking back, I had a lot of fun living there. I look back like, why the hell did I leave? It's true. I still have a lot of friends there, and the place is just beautiful. You don't see the sun. You have to get used to that. But other than that,
no, for sure.
I think I managed to finally kill these seams.
How did you do it?
Just lots of green stuff.
Just keep going on.
It's just liquid green stuff.
No,
I try to keep it smooth. Oh no, you would have seen a much bigger mess if this was like putty green stuff.
Yeah, I'm still working on trying to figure out how to use that stuff.
Oh, I don't know. I'll admit right here, I don't know. I
tried.
tried.
Never used it. Yeah, I don't have a clue. Never tried. Well, no, I tried many years ago, but yeah, since then I've just not something I've touched.
Some people do some amazing stuff with it, but I just can't wrap my head around it sometimes.
I think I myself just need to kind of dedicate a bit of time to actually watch proper tutorials and what to get, which tools to use, how much water, how do you prevent, when you're trying to stick something in there, the whole thing coming stuck to your finger. Just probably basic stuff.
Way too often does that happen to me.
Okay, so there's quite a lot of game stores in Glasgow now as well.
Nice.
Yeah. I was going to say, I've been in Glasgow as well, but again, it's more of a one-stop kind of visit. No, one-stop. It was like we stayed there, but we travelled back and forth. But it was the first time going, so we did a lot of touristy things, not really for gaming, but that's good to know. It's pretty cool.
They're two very different cities.
Oh, yes.
I think Edinburgh is weird because it's the capital, so you have a lot of like major cool things happening there, but it feels like a small town. It's a very nice place to live because of that, and of course the gaming. They do have a convention there as well. It's a small convention. But as soon as if you can get some space in, hey, you can get some events organized.
That's it. I mean, I was thinking, because, my dad's originally from Glasgow, so I'm half Scottish, but yeah, so it's quite funny. It's strange that I don't even have a hint of an accent or anything like that, but because growing up, like, when you see family videos and all that stuff, and it's like proper thick Scottish accent, we didn't have any of it at all. The kids, obviously, like me.
That's funny.
And then now, though, it's only the odd word that he says. Now he doesn't. The accent's near enough gone, and it's just the odd word he says, and it's like
his accent. Okay, that's very rare.
Yeah, it's just
Glasgow is this. It okay, maybe not. I guess maybe if you go to Orkney and like the islands, maybe it's thicker. But the Glasgow Scottish accent is very particular, even in Scotland.
Yeah,
it's a very special thing.
So Kitson was there 3 days and was always indoors. I'm assuming that was obviously due to
weather,
tournament scene and all that jazz. But I'll tell you one thing I'm not that keen or looking forward to, mainly because I've not really done this technique for quite a while, but is the when I get in the Space Marines, is the transfers. Ugh, grim.
It's not too bad. It's a bit time consuming.
Yeah, for me it's just the shoulders, isn't it? Because they've got the
the minor curve is annoying.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So I'm not done transfers since New Bretonians. So,
well, your other option is to freehand everything.
Hell no. Hell no. I was just going to buy the £10 set where you get chapter specific kind of shoulder pads and all that stuff. I was just going to do that, but Josh,
that's a lot though sometimes.
Yeah, it's going to be. He told us that the starter set as well that you get, they don't come. Well, they come like pre-assembled kind of stuff. On the shoulder pads.
Yeah, easy build.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to then chop around, and I was like, yeah, no thanks. You know me, always the easy option.
But I still have to learn how to do transfers. Have some sitting in my drawers for years.
That's it. I think it's just that technique. As soon as I just need to get it nailed down, then I'll be happy, and I'll probably end up loving it. But there's this one guy on Twitch that I watch, Alchemist Painting, and he's really good with contrasts and really good with transfers. So I learned quite a bit from him in terms of contrast painting, and I'm definitely going to be asking him about the transfers as well, because he loves using them and they look great. So need that technique.
They definitely make like a iconograph, whatever that word is. It makes it a lot easier to do that stuff, though. Definitely way easier than freehand, way easier than anything else that I can think of for doing that kind of thing.
I have lots of banners waiting for a transfer. One day,
yeah, that's it. I hate transfers, and I need to use them. It sucks to be me. Continue to feel Space Marines as well, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not. I'm just glad. I'm hoping. I don't know the book and how many Space Marines I'm going to have to do it on and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, ugh. I'm just hoping to get the technique down, and then if it's a bit time consuming, so be it. But I just want it to look good. You know what I mean?
It's not too bad. I mean, it's just a bit fiddly at times, but it's not that bad. It takes you about like a minute or two per transfer.
Yeah. So Matt, do you use I was going to say, Matt, do you use do you use a certain solution or something, or do you use just like watering?
That's certain solutions water.
It's all you use, eh?
Yeah, literally all I use.
Yeah, no, that's what I did back in the day with Brett's, but when I've been obviously on YouTube, and again, Josh mentioned, how's it called now? What's my phone?
Lamian medium.
No, he mentioned. Let me just get it up. Microset and Microsol solutions.
Oh.
You can just get them Amazon and stuff, and he said
Oh,
those
no
are
idea.
really good.
Really? I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah.
Didn't know there was a thing like that. No, I just use water. The only thing I do afterwards is give it a couple of layers of Lamian medium or any sort of matte medium, and it kills the shine on it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the Sons of the Phoenix symbol is just too hard to try freehand. Yeah, I was going to say those Sons of the Phoenix look absolutely badass. Love it. But yeah, transfers. Not looking forward to it. Oh, I do love doing this. It's just like I'm just slapping paint on air at the moment. Oh, contrast. Love it.
I still have to properly learn how to maneuver contrast.
All right, yeah. It's honestly, it can be a bit fiddly. Obviously, just try it, but for me, it was a game changer, massive game changer. I was saying to Matt many times, I just don't look at armies in the same light anymore. For me, yeah, I just see an army now saying, "Ooh, I want that, and I can paint that quick." So let's get it done.
I mean, a moment to give the respects of Games Workshop in terms of like innovative technology design, in terms of paints that are specifically to paint little tiny models with the specific effects that we need. I mean, I think everyone who paints, little models uses theirs, right? Especially their effects paints.
Yeah, I was going to say there's again, I know I can't remember the name of it, Matt. I don't know whether you know the other companies, but there's a few others with the different types of paint. Which I mean, I don't use it personally, but
Vallejo?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not the only ones, of course, but it's interesting that they're very pioneering in introducing new things.
Right.
Or maybe that's just me. That's the only ones I know. I'm the ignoramus.
I was going to say I do know a few others, but yeah, I don't really use them. I use GW.
I want to branch out a little bit, but I just don't know which ones to go for. Like, I think GW is just the safe bet. Because you know what you're going to get.
That's also true for McDonald's.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is the thing that you know that it's that price, it's that thing, everybody uses it. It has value because of that.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, everyone knows it. Everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, I use this paint," or "I know I use this color. What color is this?" Xandri dust, and everyone knows instantly.
Oh, I can't do that. Yeah, I'm a super cheapskate. I have like loads of paints from multiple like different companies. Whenever people say that, I have no idea what they're talking about. The paints with colors for boys who have only see 16 colors. There's no fuchsia. What is it called? The difference between beige, cream, and champagne. You can't tell.
They're the same color.
They're the same color. I just love the fact that, if you go to the Games Workshop site, there is Xandri dust, Goblin green, and everyone knows what they are.
Yeah. So, Kitten, I'm eventually getting a few Emperor Children contempt for them. Huh? Is that right? Sorry, it's just Matt, as you know full well, the later it gets, more slurred words that come out. I'm eventually getting a few Emperor Children contempt.
Emperor's Children's Contemptors.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Nice one. Emperor's
I'm
Children.
curious. Are you sanding or are you scraping at something? Or
Oh, is this making a lot of noise?
I'm just curious what it is. Is it
I'm
the?
dry
Are you still
brushing.
working on? Dry brushing. Oh, I got it. Okay, gotcha.
So
It's going to
I
town
don't
on
know
that
if this
dry
makes
brush.
sense. So,
You're right.
so this is the part that hasn't really been done, and this is the part that is
Yeah,
done.
let's zoom in a bit. There you go.
Okay,
There you go. There's the
Yeah, that's
focus.
cool.
Yeah, it's getting there.
it's getting there.
My cheap.
It's amazing how much
cheapo-
dry brush does to a model. It makes so much nicer.
Dry brush is the dry talent. The washes are the liquid talent.
There you go. Especially for terrain, just because it's so nice and quick over that large area. Because otherwise, I'm looking at him like tiny paintbrush, gigantic surface area. It's not going to happen.
I mean, it eats through your brushes like there's no tomorrow. But
Yeah.
that's what you pay for them. You know they're going to be destroyed. Gonna try to keep the mic a little bit away so that people
Don't worry about it. That's all good.
scratch.
It's melodic. It's soothing. It's like calm ocean waves.
Is this the ASMR of hobbyists?
Speaking of which, have you guys ever seen a? Oh crap! What's that guy's name? There's a guy that does Gundam models, and he does it in a very like ASMR way, where he like basically he takes he takes brief videos of each and every piece that he pops off of the sprue, so you get that satisfying clicking sound.
Oh, right.
It just goes rapidly through the entire model like that. It's so soothing sounding. It's so cool to watch.
I thought you were gonna say the voice that he narrates everything
No.
with.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Dice Sagas.
Yeah.
Ooh, can we hire you to narrate? I like it. I like it. You can be the narrator for our OnlyFans bit.
Oh dear. And there we go. Kitten saying it's Forge World. Yeah, Forge. Because I thought it was a typo, but apparently it's an acronym. So. Oh dear. I tell you, I need to get better with the more knowledgeable about these acronyms. It's my age, I think. Not that.
Well, you mean the neon or something else?
No, it was just Kitten in his previous chatter. He was saying about the it said FW Emperor Children.
Oh,
I thought it was a typo. It meant to be like he's getting a few Emperor Children models and stuff, but he meant obviously it's Forge World. So I was like, oh.
but that was the same thing. The Slaves to Darkness was released, and everyone started saying STD. I was like, nah, mate, no, don't do that. We don't do that here.
Getting all my STDs.
Yeah.
No, dear. I'm actually really liking this effect though, with the Grif Charge Agree. Looking pretty cool.
All right.
How you doing, Matt, with yours?
I'm working on Scarbrand's face.
Ooh,
Getting there.
ooh, I see.
Slowly.
Yeah.
Although I think I'm going to call it a night soon. I have to get up really early tomorrow.
Yeah, no worries.
You guys
gonna
are
get
doing
this.
big marathons. No, you guys did streamed yesterday. You streamed today.
Well, it's just I'm off for the next few days, so I can't. So cram it in.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it. And in all honesty, this is why we don't. We basically just stream. We tend to like mess each other during the day or something, or like the day before. And we're saying, should we stream? Yes, no. Let's talk and what availability and stuff. And then yeah, we just do it. That's why there's no like set schedule because
Life happens.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not something we can just at this moment in time, especially pick up and just say, yeah, every Tuesday, every Monday, we're going to be streaming. It's not possible. So
It's when my kids allow me to stream is when I stream.
Yeah, never commit. Just do it on the fly. It's always better.
Yeah, exactly that.
Especially as streamers, it's hard if you feel like you have to maintain a schedule.
It's for sure. And to be honest, I noticed that especially when I was streaming on Twitch for gaming. So I was doing streaming Total War Warhammer, and like every night, 9 o'clock, it's
like work at that point,
doesn't it? Yeah. It just felt more like work than anything, and it was just like it's constant. Like, I mean, I still really had a blast, had a great time, but it was always like additional pressure just to make sure I was there, and I couldn't really, all of a sudden drop and say, "Oh no, I'm not going to be here," and all that kind of stuff. And it was just, that's why on the fly is so much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the same thing with our podcast. It happens when it's ready.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, like for you guys, from your perspective, what are the things that you guys would like to see happen? Like how can like the community as a whole better support you guys, or things that don't exist that you would like to see in terms of like people how play Age of Sigmar, narrative or otherwise?
Matt, do you want to go first or do you want me?
That's a deep question. You go first.
Yeah.
I'm the one doing the interview now.
It's a precursor to the podcast interview. So I would say from a technical aspect would be obviously getting community engaged in obviously like comments, likes, all that kind of stuff, and engagement on the content itself. That always helps in terms of exposure, because that then gets us further up in the YouTube algorithm rankings and all that kind of stuff. So that, from a technical point of view, that's always a great thing, and that's something we would definitely look for. And I suppose from a narrative, actual story aspect, again, just getting, to be honest, doing what we're kind of doing now and getting the community involved in the actual Interstice. Feel free to obviously come and ask questions, join obviously this kind of forum where they can by all means ask as many questions as they want. We can even edit the map during these times as well, other bits like that. So there is a lot of things that we could do, but I think from a community again as engaged would be, it's going to be a different story when things open up again and people start gaming, because it's going to open up the like the monthly campaign of a siege kind of stuff as well, and the aspects of it. So I suppose me and Matt will touch on that a little bit more, but I suppose from a community aspect, that's where we like a lot of engagement, is obviously getting people's lore in there. It gives us more material. Again, we'll start posting more videos and all that stuff as well with community lore videos. Don't get me wrong, we've got tons that we need to do right now in terms of community lore, but it's always good to have a whole like bucket full, if you like, of community lore videos that we can just work through. And
the fact that you're willing to do that as a sort of a service, I mean, it's amazing.
I really enjoy it because I love reading their stories, obviously like narrating bits of those, and I obviously just love creating the videos and editing it around it as well. It's fun.
You guys should really participate in Animosity this year. It's going to be really your jam.
It's more of a sales pitch now, isn't it?
Always a sales pitch.
Always.
No, don't worry, no pressure.
No.
You guys are running your own platform as well. But it's good to interact, even if the participation is kind of, you just pitch in something every other turn, to see how it works, because there's a lot of players there that will probably be very interested in Dice Sagas, because Animosity runs once a year. And the Discord is always active. Don't ask me why. These people have all stayed. They're super active. They're constantly discussing their own lore, where their army is going to go next, preparing for next year's Animosity. And these are people, like, some of them don't even play Age of Sigmar per se. They do hobby, or they read and they write. Yeah. So it's literally also your demographic.
Well, and in terms of, it's another aspect as well, because for the community lore videos as such, I have about people saying, because one of the aspects of the community lore videos that we do is we show the miniatures that they've worked on. So, to obviously give them credit for that as well. It's pretty cool. Obviously, link them in whether they got an Instagram page or whatever. We always link that in the description as well. But we just show their miniatures and all that kind of stuff that goes along with their story, their character. And yeah, it's just fun. And in terms of people have also said, "Oh, I don't have a miniature, but I've got like a backstory for a settlement," that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And I'm like, hell, just send it in. We can make that. We can make the video work still in other bits, but yeah. So it's that kind of thing is another aspect which is awesome, and people seem to appreciate, obviously, with the in terms of having their miniatures displayed as well and seeing it come to life. It's just you get so much gratification out of it. It's all of it. It's awesome.
I mean, like I said, that's why I kind of describe it as a service, because it's a huge favor you do. It's almost as if like when you ask somebody to like draw your character, like your RPG character. This is kind of in the same vein.
Yeah.
No, I'm really happy that you guys enjoy doing this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Bringing all this stuff to life.
I consider it just part of the hobby, really.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Matt, what did you say?
Oh, I just consider it part of the hobby nowadays. Just comes kind of naturally, I feel.
Oh, but that's a big transformation, man. It's not something that people considered, normal, or that people actually paid attention, right?
I suppose so. I hope it becomes normal. If it becomes normal, where everyone wants to contribute, everyone wants to make a story for their army, everyone wants to get involved. I want that to become more normal.
100%, man.
It would also make my life a little bit easier in the sense that I don't have to create everything. I don't have to create all the lore for the Interstice. The more people that get involved, I like your idea, I'll throw it in. Update the map, etc., etc. It's canon now. Instead of having me have to sit down and think okay, so I want this army incorporated, I want this character incorporated, what do I have to write? And it's hours and hours and hours of planning, thinking, writing, etc., etc., etc. Having people brainstorming their ideas, and then it's oh wow, that's really cool. I would have never thought of that.
Mm-hmm. How do you relate to that in terms of collaborative storytelling? That it's almost like improv, but in narrative writing.
Yeah, basically, I think, isn't it? That's a lovely thing about it. It literally is just like improv. We just get ideas together, piece them together, and we just kind of go with what happens. Yeah.
Alejandro is back.
Welcome back.
Tenebron is back. And it appears that Pete maybe joined. He says, Kitten says, "Sup, Pete?" So it looks like we've got a few other folks just joined.
Well, people just jump on at midnight, I guess. Unfortunately, I need to go. I'm getting really tired. But here's progress on my Scar brand so far. Just the face more than anything.
Nice.
Hold on, Matt. Excuse a sec. There you go.
So, guy's angry face. Got to do some washes, of course, but we'll get there. We'll get there soon. Anyways, I'm gonna pop out.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks for joining us, Nuno.
No, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you.
I'll catch you guys up later.
All right, take care.
See ya.
And then there were two. So I think in time, probably about another 20 minutes or so, and then
It's up to you. Yep.
and we can.
Thank you for allowing me the soapbox.
No, honestly, no problem. Definitely have you back on again, because this is the whole idea. I love the whole hobby hangout. We've had a few people on the channel, and it's just great to have this talk, and again with chat as well. It's just you always have a good bunch of people in chat, which is great. Yeah, I was going to say Kitten there, love it, and that's obviously with Matt's Scar brand, which looks really cool.
No,
Alejandro.
I used to be a lot. I used to hold back a lot more in model painting, but after COVID hit, I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna buy the
The
stuff,
gates,
and
yeah.
let me enjoy my life. Let's dive into the hobby.
Too
I
right.
started buying bigger and bigger models now.
Oh, sweet. I suppose my problem is, again, I mean, I've paid this guy to do one of my endless spells. So this is just like a commission job, but just to support him as well, because he's the guy I mentioned, Alchemist Painting on Twitch. And yeah, just to support him, I was like, just painting this, because I know he's a really good painter as well. So painting these endless spells. So obviously that'll come back eventually, but I'm just touching so many different aspects of the hobby at this moment in time, though. It's endless, but it's amazing.
What is the most interesting thing that by expanding your community? Like, what were the most interesting things that you've found, or people that you met, or things like that?
Interesting. I don't know. It's a difficult question, to be honest, because there is a lot of aspects which, for me, one of the things I get a lot of buzz out of is this the connection, the talking, the general discussion of the hobby and all that kind of stuff. And it's great always writing your own lore, all that kind of stuff, but I really do like so basically I'm in charge of the social media for Dice Sagas, so I've got all the stuff on the go, set up the YouTube channel, set up pretty much everything in that sense. And Matt's been doing a lot of the storytelling. It's basically segregated duties to an extent, and where Matt has been busy, especially when he had his second kid as well, just born. Pretty much I was writing the stories, doing the narrating, pretty much everything, until Matt could then take back some of the task and that kind of stuff. But no, the segregation of duties is definitely key, but the whole learning aspects of it as well, in terms of, I suppose it's been a massive point, I would say, in terms of the channels, like from inception to where it is now to hopefully where it'll be in the future. It's been awesome. Absolutely loved.
Well, look at these special effects. Look at this. Come on.
Yeah,
It's
this
so
was
good.
actually this is a community one. This was for Hellglass Peak.
Oh, nice. Pizza oven. Fire Slayer pizza oven.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Is this Alejandro's Caradron arm that he was mentioning, or Adeptus Mechanicus?
No, that's No, that's okay. That was something else. Yeah, this one is is James? Is it James Marsden, or it might be Dave? I can't remember. There's too many names to remember.
You're too famous. Oh.
too many socials, too many names. That's what it is. Alejandro, so it took him 40 minutes, but I managed to attach the arm. That's the Caradron Overlord conversion, right, with the 40K scene. Terrabron is Pete on a break. Okay. So I was going to say Pete was you joined with Facebook, right, last time? I didn't know he was on Twitch. Didn't know that was your alias.
Oh, that is always so hard to try to track down people's aliases.
Oh, yeah. Because everyone has something different as well, so.
Because when you have to refer to people on a website, it's like, oh, you can follow this person here and here and here. It's like, all right, did I forget any socials from these people?
Oh yeah, it's exactly that. And it looks like Pete and Kitten has been talking around their tactics and painting, I think. I know, just painting by the looks of it. So those two got a tournament soon as well, which is pretty cool. 40K one. Yeah, good luck with the tournament and the battle, guys. So what armies did you collect in Fantasy anyway?
So I mostly have one single army, which is in Fantasy was Vampire Counts.
Oh yes.
Then I dabbled a little bit in Tomb Kings, and I was very happy when the end times came, where you could just like mash up the two armies together. It's like, yes. And then they blew up the world.
Yeah.
But since then, I've mostly been evolving it as Legions of Nagash and also Legion of Grif to put in a few ghosts.
Cool.
I have enough I think now to fully run everything with round bases, but I have not rebased anything.
No,
I just have the minimum enough to run a legal army.
Yeah.
So I still play with all my old square bases, and as long as people are okay with it.
Yeah.
And that's the only army that I actually own. The rest, because I was playing Mordheim, I have a little bit of smattering of everything, so I can play skirmish games with a little bit of everything. So I have enough to make little war bands of many of the other armies to kind of play against.
Yeah. That's cool. I was going to say, but I had pretty much I had too many armies to count over the years. Of fantasy, I dabbled with. I was probably shorter actually, just to tell you the armies that I didn't have, and that was chaos. I had pretty much every other army going over the years, and
you said it was 20 years, right?
Oh yeah. It's been a long time. And then with Age Sigmar, during this lockdown period, I've painted, including what was it now? I've painted McCurtain Overlords, Sylvaneth, Skaven, Nighthorn, and Ogres. So.
And that's just Age of Sigmar specific.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got through all those armies during lockdown, and then again that was, and now I'm starting on my Idoneth.
The famed Idoneth that you finally pulled the trigger.
Yeah, it's been I was gonna say, it's been on my agenda, and next time I always said to Matt, next time I'm gonna paint Idoneth, and then lo and behold, I'm painting something else. So yeah, it's one of those armies, but I am actually really stoked to get them on the tabletop as well, and get them into the Interstice. That'd be pretty cool. Any
particular style of conversion that you're going to put on them?
So I've got the catacombs, like the Nightshades or whatever you call them these days, the Dark Elf kind of equivalent. So I've got those, and I'm looking to do some conversions with that, with those models with my Idoneth. So I'm gonna see how it goes, but I've got a few ideas.
K-Knight Shadowstalkers, you mean?
Yeah, Shadowstalkers. There you go. That's
nice.
The one. So yeah, I'm gonna do some conversions with those, and some Idoneth. See how that turns out.
No, I think there's so much potential for people to like invent new stuff. That's the thing. Ricky Smith is amazing at this.
Amazing at what? Sorry.
At literally every conversion in the world.
Oh, right.
So he's now building, I think. So I don't know if you follow this. Did you know that he actually ran a submissions campaign during December? Like a sort of a narrative campaign that was you just submit to Twitter and you just tallied up all the submissions.
I only joined Twitter a few months ago, I mean, because that was one of the latest things I've joined with the Dice Sagas. I never used it ever in the past for personal reasons or anything.
No, I'm glad I've caught you guys because I didn't know you guys existed before.
Exactly that. Yeah.
No, so what he did, I mean, he's been doing this for quite a while.
Yeah.
With all his conversions, and he did like a narrative campaign, and he did, I think it was Idoneth, K-Knight Idoneth. It was all kind of all red and full of blood and spiky and everything.
That sounds pretty cool.
So, it was following the Broken Realms narrative where the Idoneth allied with Marathi.
Mm.
So the whole narrative of the campaign is that I think it was an outpost on the other side of a realm gate that led directly to Enfelgard. So it was suffering from the problem of the K-Knights coming over and ruining it for everyone.
And that sounds really cool.
He's now converting. I think he's now making. He might even make custom war scrolls for this because he's done a lot of them.
Hmm.
I think it's a sort of like a devoted to Sigmar conversions, like lots of from like Sisters of Battle and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's like all the popes and the priests and the war priests. He's gonna run them as Stormcast, I think.
Ooh. That sounds really cool.
This man was hardcore. He went to Throne of Skulls, and he brought with him a sheet, and he said, "All right, if my hero dies 3 times, he's dead, and I never use in my army again." So he did this. He wrote the whole story for his Midnight City, the one with the cog fort,
Right, yeah.
and he just went full on hardcore. I have not done that. I need those models.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy a new model to substitute my hero.
That's it. Speaking of new models, Rainbow has basically said I tried to do Lumineth, but models are just too pricey. I mean, I've not actually seen what you need for a Lumineth army in that sense, in terms of actually, obviously, very up in the air thinking here, because obviously you're thinking about price, what size army, and assuming 2K, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know how many miniatures that would entail because of not really looks at the book, to be honest. I know bits of the lore, again, that's just really from people with Pug and other bits, but yeah, I don't know.
Aren't they supposed to be a little bit less models? I actually don't know.
Yeah, but that's it. I'm not too sure myself either, because they're not really, I think they're cool looking models, but in fact I did a review of the Lumineth models with Neil Keegan, which was a good laugh.
Yep, I remember.
Yeah. One and only review that we've ever done. But that was fun. I'll probably end up doing more in the future, actually, because I quite enjoy those, just talking about the miniatures and all that kind of stuff. It might be something where we can, obviously it's very much the time difference though with those guys. They're basically, they're going to sleep by the time I finish work, so.
That's the most interesting thing about doing like online communities is that you start realizing the time zone differences.
Oh yeah,
like the Discord, like things showing up at odd times. It's very funny.
Yeah, exactly that. For the army, I wanted it to have 600. Was it? Oh, can I say what? You can tell I'm starting to crash. The words are slurring again. For the army, I wanted it would have been 600 for 2k points. Well, 600 miniatures? That can't be right. Unless I've just totally misread that. For the army, I wanted it would have been 600.
$600?
I'm assuming he's talking money.
Dollars or pounds? Yeah.
Pounds. Yeah. I was thinking miniatures. I was like, nah, it can't be that. It's going to be pounds. Yeah. £600. Wow.
Does it have a Mega Gargant? That's a third.
£600 for a 2k army. Now, then again, having said that, obviously I spend it.
Think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the amount of money I've spent across all these armies. It's you just don't notice because it's done over months, but.
I don't know if you've seen the new Gravelord rules, but I think zombies may be finally becoming viable, which means
don't say that.
Big numbers.
So go on. What was the rule, sir?
I think now you can actually, for every model that the zombies kill, you get another zombie back on a 2+.
Oh.
If I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
which so it used to be like on a 6, right?
6, yeah.
We'll see. I have to check it better. I couldn't find the Gravelords in my shop. Like, it was sold out immediately. Just a Battle Tome. I mean, I get the miniatures, people want to buy it, but
yeah,
Battle Tome gone.
Oof, what the hell. I was going to say that if I was to ever get a Gravelords, which at this moment in time, maybe not, but in the future, because I was a Vampire Count player at heart, fancying all that kind of stuff. I do have a Nighthaunt army, but I'm like, is it really scratching that itch? And then the zombie. I'll tell you what, I'll definitely have a zombie horde army.
How many zombies do you own?
I don't really. I've paid like 90 clan rats, so.
Man.
Believe me, that's contrast as well. So, blasted through those, and yeah, to be honest, that did look good as well. So, but yeah, I'd definitely do a zombie horde for sure. But like, I'd love the idea of enemies getting bogged down, and obviously then slowly turning into zombies as well. Oh, so good.
One single zombie unit and maybe a support unit, plonk it on an objective just to buy time.
Yeah, and just say, move me.
Exactly. Like, let's see how long it takes. So you put it as a bubble so that it stays just outside the 6-inch,
Yeah.
just
That's
to
it.
troll your opponent.
And to try and slay an enemy. Obviously, yeah, depending on which enemy it sends at you. But
Oh, well, of course, yeah.
if you can return that model, oof, that's cool.
I don't know. I have at least. I think no. I don't think I can get to 60 zombies, but I think I can get to 40. I mean, they're all still on square bases and with unit fillets, but I don't care.
Yeah. I've got 30 zombies at the moment in terms of like the obviously old sculpts and stuff like that. And I think I've got 40 Graveguard. I've got 30 zombies, about 40 skeletons. This is from the fantasy army.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? I think that's it really. And then I've obviously got like die wolves, the old die wolves, fellbats, and other bits like that as well.
I mean, I'm still pretty fond of my classic dire wolves.
Yeah, I mean the new ones look epic, but I think if you already own direwolves, then you're in no immediate rush to go out and get it.
Yep, exactly. No, I actually like how the old ones looked. Yes, their head was a little bit bigger,
Yeah,
but you just throw some blood for the blood god in there, and they just look awesome.
Mm. I'm crushing myself, to be honest. So I'll catch you guys another time. Have a good night, boys. Yes, take care, mate.
Good night.
And thanks for stopping by, as always. Thank you. To be honest, I think once I've got this fully painted, not fully painted, but the vast majority of the boat done, then it's just the fishes. I think I'll call it. So it's not much longer now, but it's looking good. Anyway, how have you found it? The stream?
That's great, dude. Thank you for inviting me.
No, honestly, I love having, obviously, like, because we've talked in Discord a good number of times and all that kind of stuff, and obviously in chat here. But yeah, it's great having you on for sure, because it just obviously allows that networking and connectivity and all that stuff just so much better. Obviously,
and you guys are doing something so cool that is, in my opinion, so altruistic, because there's a lot of work involved in doing this.
Oh yeah,
and you're making people really happy. That's that's my perspective on things. You're doing something that most people wouldn't be bothered to do, and by doing it, you're getting more people excited.
Yeah, that's the idea. But at the same time,
the sales pitch is that we Animosity made people buy more models. This is the pitch. So is Dice Sagas making people buy more models? That is now the next metric.
Yeah. Maybe give us a bit of time, and then hopefully.
No, I think so. I think if people get excited about their lore being there and like new things they can do, especially if they start telling stories within, you really start wanting to do new conversions.
Yeah, and to be honest, that kind of thing, short stories being told. I've seen this one guy, Adam. He's basically Adam's done his own battle tome, and the amount of awesome lore he's written is really impressive. And I've got some basically his lore that I'm going to be writing, the narrating, and it's just so good. But we don't. To be honest, we don't want to discourage other people, because some of them have said, "Oh, we're not that great at lore, like our writing or anything." Don't mind, send it through, and I have tweaked things now and again. I always say to him, whenever you send it to us, we always have a slight creative license just to tweak things now and again if necessary. We'll run it by you first. If you're happy, then we'll go ahead with it. And to be honest, it's only been like very few things, to be honest, that we've ever had to tweak. But yeah, it's just awesome. And we never discourage people if they're not the best writers or anything like that. No, that doesn't matter. Tell your story. Let it be known.
Yes. Yeah, at Animosity, the team has had to kind of like put a few rules in it, because people are getting really excited and writing all sorts of like really complicated plots.
Right.
and love stories and things like that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. But
We were like knocked on our ass by the excitement and the quality of the submissions we got. We even got paintings on easels, like actual oil painting.
Wow, that's really cool.
I know. I think, and you guys are in the position to capitalize from the same thing, because having a sort of what's the word? Like it's not even platform, multi-medium way of contributing to Age of Sigmar.
Yeah. And I was going to say, with Age of Sigmar as well, we are doing, as I mentioned earlier with the other guys, it's something that I'm looking to do branching into 40k in the future as well, which, again, I'm not sure what the YouTube 40k scene or in terms of lore and all that kind of stuff, but again, we're just doing it our own way. We do what we do, similar to what we've done for, obviously, the Interstice Pocket Realm, in a sense of, our own stories, our own lore being brought forward and all that stuff. So I'm excited for it, really am. It's still a way off yet, because again, we're still drawing the map and all this other stuff. But yeah, I am quite excited for it for sure. And it's just another avenue for people to reach out as well. And then we say, 40k, have you got an Age of Sigmar army? There you go.
Mm-hmm. In the words of Steve Herner, one of the veteran Neos, build the event that you wanna play in,
yes,
or build the platform that you wish you could have, and they will come.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I assume there are many people that disagree on how the game should be played and what the lore should be or not. They will come.
Oh yeah.
Actually, is there anyone doing that in 40k at all?
There's again, to my limited knowledge, there are people who do kind of narrative kind of things. Again, I'm not sure to what extent, but I'm not too familiar with that many that do that in terms of the narrative side. I've seen narrative battle reports, but again, not in the same fashion that we do ours. And which is obviously a point which I'm going to be definitely leaning on, because I've got so many ideas for this, which obviously I'm really stoked for. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything just yet that's got a similar kind of thing. But I could be wrong.
No, I'm completely ignorant about what's happening in 40k. I do know that there's a lot of opinions flying. People have very strong opinions about a lot of things, more than in Age of Sigmar.
Oh yeah. Oh,
but
yes.
It's all the hearsay that gets to me.
Yeah.
I don't know the truth.
No, exactly that. And I think with 40k as well, it's something where I've got a lot of passion for, I've got a lot of love for as well, because I have played it in the past and I really liked it. It's just I've been out of the scene for such a long time, but again, it's not what we're creating isn't going to be it's just going to be a home as well, similar to the Pocket Realm, where people can place their planets, their ships. We're gonna have conquests, we're gonna have battle on planets and all that kind of stuff. And it will be big. It's going to be epic to an extent. It's going to start off small, of course, because obviously it's not going to be like a flood of people wanting planets and all that. But I think on the map, on the sector that we're building, I've marked it. I'll say we at this moment in time. Matt's focusing on the Age of Sigmar at this moment. Obviously, well, so am I. But I've also started to venture into the 40k scene a bit. So I've started the wheels turning on that, and we've got about 60 odd planets so far. Which sector?
Wait, is that written up lore for 60 planets?
So at this moment in time, no.
Okay. I was like, what are you trying to tell me?
Yeah, so these 60 planets is going to be can be populated by the community, so they can have their home world there. So we've already got a guy on Instagram who says he wants to place his custom chapter, his custom chapter homeworld there as well. So which is really cool. And so we've got those planets that we're going to use. We've also got another guy who's going to use like a battle barge kind of stuff, and his whole fleet is going to be just going around. And then also we're going to have like, different like Tyranids coming in from one side of it, and Necrons awaken on the worlds and all this other stuff. So it's going to be like there's going to be a lot of worlds in conflict. There's going to be a few worlds which are like fortresses and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be epic, and we're also in the process, very, very, very early stages of starting our own kind of thing similar to the Great Weave, but for 40k. So I've been speaking with Keegan on it, and he's gonna look to assist us in that as well, which is really cool.
Oh man, that has huge potential.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like, you guys hit something. You guys hit gold with this.
So,
you're still gonna bump into a lot of people that's like, what is this? Is that gonna work? And yes, it is.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's the website itself that we're in the process of very early stages of building is going to be the Dice Saga homepage to an extent. So which is going to have the 40k heavily based on that section, if you like, on that page. And then we're also going to have the Age Sigmar section, which is going to have a link to the Great Weave as well. So we're going to be doing that in tandem. And
I'm happy that you guys want to maintain the Great Weave connection.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Because I've said this to Keegan straight away as well, that his work that he's done there has just been absolutely amazing, and I'm massively supportive of anyone who puts in effort like that. And
he's been awesome, yeah.
Yeah, I've bought him coffees, I've subscribed to his Twitch as well, and other bits, just so just helping each other out as well. And we've also talked around the logistics of this news of our new channel as well. So.
This was, I think, the original reason why the Neon was launched was literally the logistics. It was for people to get together and kind of share. And you guys kind of met completely separately. And then I said, I need to get more people to join these folks, because the more they can talk to each other, the more they can improve on what they're doing.
Oh yeah, massively. So that's pretty much what's going on. And so there's a lot of things happening in the background whilst we're still driving forward this Interstice Pocket Realm. And in the meantime, painting a lot of, I'm going to be painting a lot of 40k as well, which is cool. I've got my Ideneth as my last AOS army for some time, until we'll see what happens down the road. Because seriously, they've got right. So Kharadron Overlords, Sylvaneth, Skaven, Ogres, Nighthaunt, Ideneth. That's like 6 armies roughly. And if you include the old fantasy army as well, I could probably have a cities army, and I've got a.
I mean, in my mind, you do, because bases don't matter. So.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in my mind, so basically, I've got around about 8 armies roughly, if you include the historical stuff, which, in all honesty, I'm not going to touch for a long time. I've got a Sigmar. I've got a Stormcast army as well, which again I've not touched for a long time. I've sprayed them all; they're all there, but I've used them for Warcry. But then I'm like, I haven't used them, and I've converted a few models. If I could just pay someone to paint them, then I probably would use them.
You can, right?
No, of course, but it's just whether I want to put that investment into something that I may or may not use. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I'm just like and ahhing about that. And then potentially doing well. In fact,
we all have stocks of shrink wrap, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly that.
And grey plastic.
So one of the things that we're looking to do as well, because again on Instagram we're almost 3,000 followers. Oof. So once we hit that target, it's going to be. I'm going to do a giveaway, which is.
Congratulations, man.
No, appreciate that. Honestly, It's been, I don't know, probably about a year now, I think, we've been on there. But I think with that, we're doing a giveaway of the Flesh Eater Court's Broken Realms starter set. and the Flesh Eater Coats book as well. So that's going to be a giveaway. Once we hit that, I'll do a video on YouTube. I do a lot of cool intro and all that kind of stuff for that and the giveaway. And then again, people to enter would be to like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and place a comment, and basically just to get a YouTube algorithm going as well, and get people focusing on the channel as well. But it's also to say, guys, massive thank you for supporting us and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's going to be cool. Really
I mean, that's awesome. I saw that you guys had already done like a context. I need a coffee.
No. It's been 3 hours and 25 minutes, so it's been a long stream.
The sun is finally setting over here.
Yeah.
The contest that you guys did, was it a lower contest?
Yes, we do. To be honest, they're the kind of smaller miniature giveaways, which I've got tons of giveaway miniatures still ready and waiting. So we'll be doing a lot more narrative lore competitions and stuff like that, just because it's great fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome to see people getting engaged like this. And so when I told Paul Boussard that say, listen, there's these people who have like a repository and like a place you can populate with your own lore, and he said, what?
Yeah.
I've been trying to tell this to the Nova Grand Narrative Facebook group for a while, but I don't think they really read through it. I finally kind of like, wait, this is happening, and I just jumped on it.
That's it. That is it. So it's such a great. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I've never seen anything like it, and I'm so chuffed that we're part of it now. And again, speaking with Keegan and about this new 40K equivalency, and that
has huge potential, man. Like, the 40K community is bigger, and I don't know what's the state of narrative in 40K, although the Horus Heresy folks are already primed to like that kind of stuff for sure. So this has the potential to kind of also give you guys a lot of work, but if you enjoy doing it, and like if you have help to streamline it.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, I absolutely love it. And on top of that, even like when I do like community lore videos, I just find it so much fun. That's the thing. I love it, and I love helping other people. I get so serious, right? No joke in here at all. Or like, it's not meant to be like a massive selling point or anything like that. But I truly, truly enjoy helping other people. So
I'm happy that you do, man, because that's you created something that people find value in. That doesn't happen all the time. And the fact that people are so excited means you've hit pay dirt.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, so far we're inching towards the 1,000 mark.
No, but that's the thing. Things, when I say hit pay dirt, it's like you're starting something new. So clearly, you're getting a response, and you don't know how much it can grow and how much is going to be the ultimate impact.
Yeah,
it's just that. I think we have to have this long-term view, and this is why I've been putting a lot of energy, talking with all the other Neos and getting the Neon out there. It's because I've seen Age of Sigmar being a game that people were very wary about. And this was actually the match play community that turned it into a mainstream game. We have to give them credit for that.
No, massively.
But things evolve in this way. Like people get down there and they do stuff. Like get with their feet on the ground, and that's how it works. But the problem is later on, nobody tells the story that way.
No.
So you don't forget how. So you don't. Like, if you're trying to do something new, you don't even know where to start.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, again, it was the difficulty of this whole channel was very much doing something that was totally no one's ever done kind of thing, and it's just like, are people going to like it? Are they not? And then, first of all, it's like a load of. We're going to go through, peaks and troughs in a sense where the ebbs and flows, but I think we've got a steady kind of. It's like our battle reports tend to get around about 500, 600 views. Say, our lore videos tend to get around about 200-ish. Obviously, hobby hangouts vary around about 100, sometimes less, but then again, it's hobby hangout. So it tends to be around about that volume at this point. When 2 Plus Tough did, obviously because he's got a lot of weight behind him.
Wow, that's the thing. I remember when he was starting.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, I remember the original Warhammer Weekly,
Yeah.
which it wasn't Vince, it was Long Island Wargaming doing it like from their little group that also played Mordheim, and
Yeah.
eventually Vince and Tom got involved, and when AOS broke and the end times happened, they didn't continue it, and Vince picked it up and made it an institution, as we all know now.
Yeah.
But I saw that whole thing increase, and I remember Doug setting up like, I'm the person who does the lore videos and the explainers. And look where things are now.
Oh yeah. Well, this is it. And when he's done voiceovers for us before in one of our battle reports, that now is our highest viewed video. In a sense, it's over like it's 1,300.
So
yeah, it's like 1,300, which is insane for our kind of community at this point.
With his silky smooth voice.
Yeah, that's it. He played some Dwarden, so he's all right. So that's what I'm saying. So when it's someone like that, and he actually came out his own words as well, saying that we are the best narrative battle reports I've seen. And that I was like, awesome stuff.
It is. I mean, I think when I found out that you guys existed, I was like, oh my god, it's finally here. It's narrative battle reports with special effects, finally. And at first I thought somebody was going to do this by just putting stills and photoshopping special effects. And you can get a lot done with that. Actually, really good looking effects, like painted over.
Yeah.
But you guys do it animated. Oof.
Yeah, this
you pulled this off.
Yeah, and well, this is it. We do we have been changing now and again a little bit. So originally we do like very much just the whole thing was in a cartoony kind of style in terms of the effects. And then we evolved. We had feedback saying, oh, they absolutely love the style. But then we had others which saying, oh, sometimes it, like the images weren't that clear and want to see your models as well. That's like, perfect. Good feedback. So when chapter 2 started, we started evolving again to where, well, the decision I kind of came up with, because I do all the editing for the videos, is that the intro itself was like cartoon. So I was like, because I always wanted to keep the aspects of it because it was very cool. And then when the battle report started, it was then I do like a little cutscene, which is then ogres against Corvus Cabal or whatever, and then it would be the actual miniatures themselves, the actual painting, all that kind of stuff, all the cool effects would be throughout. And then towards the end, you then go back to a cartoony kind of like summary of why, so you do an intro, summary is cartoon, center is all miniatures kind of stuff on the table as it happens kind of thing. So that's our current format at the moment. And now we're looking to introduce, probably not next 2 videos because we've already got those kind of done, but going forward after that, a bit more actual video content as well. So not just snaps where we edit them and do a lot of like visual effects, but actually doing some recording, like, moving around the table and stuff like that as well. So just to see how that goes and see how we can make it a bit more immersive and other bits.
Are we gonna see stop motion at some point?
I would absolutely love it, but no.
It's a lot of work.
Too much work, I know. I was looking into like animated and how all this other stuff. I was like, I don't have that time.
Are there any programs, and obviously these things also cost money to invest, that do like limited animation that you can, maybe there's some, I don't know if there's some sort of like these new sort of like AI filters that allow you to move parts of an image?
Yeah, there is.
And it doesn't look weird? The background?
Well, this is, I have used some, I've tried to do some in the past as well, where it's like kind of making the trees move and stuff like that, doing like the actual effects that you're saying then. And I've tried looking at different apps, obviously different software as well, and there's been nothing really that's what I wanted kind of thing. So I think at this moment in time, I mean, don't wrong, it will evolve over time, of course, but at this moment in time, it's going to be pretty much the way it is now, but with some added on different effects. I'm going to start introducing a bit more effects, even more so now. Also sound effects as well. I introduced that in a few of the videos, like especially like the zombie herd that was coming through on one of the Warcry battle reports. I also loved making the zombie noises for that. So and then just overlap them, so it sounded like there was multiple like zombies. Like I really enjoyed that. And then obviously like arrows, like arrows going through the air kind of stuff. So basically, all the sound effects, a vast majority, is me just making it all up, and then obviously just capturing it. It's like I think the Banshee scream that we did. I got the wife to just do a scream down the mic, which she enjoyed. I said she was got a bit embarrassed and said, honestly, don't care, just give it a go.
And she gave like the best scream ever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So she just went and stuff like that. So that was awesome. So yeah, I tried to, and again, I tried to get some of the community involved as well. So I've had those reading some lines for us as well if they wanted to, during some videos and all that.
That's really cool because then people can feel like they can be a part and they get like bits here and there. That's really cool.
Exactly. And if they want to do some voicing for their own character during like their own like lore narrative, I'm not stopping it. All I ask is that the quality is good in terms of the mic quality. That's all I ask for. Because at the end of the day, if your character sounds like a certain way, then it sounds a certain way. That's that's just the way it is. It's entirely up to them. So
sometimes you have people that are exactly the voice you want, though.
Oh yeah.
And then you have to tell them like, don't make any voices. Just speak normally.
Just speak normal. Yeah. That's it.
Because it was last year that we did the trailer for Animosity 2.
Right.
And I was kind of like, who am I gonna like get to make like the voice of like a grumpy soldier, like with some gravelly voice? Oh, I know. And so I reached out to Elric Edge from the Rolling Bad podcast.
Oh yeah.
Perfect voice. It was the perfect voice. And it was just perfect. it just fit. You didn't need to do anything.
No, and then again, it's like when I do like so. Our battle reports, Matt does most of the narrating, and I do some as well. I have done quite a few myself as well, and I don't mind it at all because again, it's a whole massive learning curve. The whole narrating as well because and I'm still learning because it's like you need to you need to like make it like suspenseful or like intense in certain times, and you can't be like monotone throughout kind of thing. You need to obviously speak, and then if action you wax with a sword, and you have to go really into it, and then obviously then it dies off, and then you ease away. There's a whole skill set behind it, which I really didn't think about until I started doing it.
I mean,
I was like, wow,
you're gonna get people with acting skills that do want to do that if you don't have it already. Actually,
yeah, I was gonna say we've had for my Mortain the Leash Emperor, I got one of the community guys. He's done bits and bobs like Amatrax and other bits, and he did the voiceover for that as well.
There you go.
I was speaking to him and said, do you fancy doing that I'll send you the scripts. Obviously, I'll do the narrating and you just do all the speeches and all that stuff. And obviously then he did that because, the whole idea behind the Leash Emperor, all the characters that I created and the story that were written was basically this old man who's walking through a field with surrounded by fog, and then the fog starts moving, stretching fingers and like touching his cloak, and he's just talking to the fog itself. Well, he's talking, but it appears to be to the fog itself about this about the Leash Emperor, and then gradually over time he says that basically Night Haunt starts to appear immersed from the fog itself, and turns out he's a necromancer telling a story and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that is great. It's very Black Library, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I wanted it to be like, and when I was telling the story as well, he steps in a puddle and he's like, so he stopped talking. He's like, every time, and stuff like that. Starts wiping off his boot, and then he ends up then carry on with the story and said, where was I? Yes, and then.
That is so good. That is so good. Have you heard the Gotrek audio dramas?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
Audiobooks.
It's so good.
Yeah, audiobooks are my thing. I mean, I used to read. I mean, I've got so many fantasy novels, and I've read, especially like the Von Carstein trilogy. I've read that so many times, and I like the Petronian book. That's so many books I've read, and But now I'm just like, I don't find the time to read. I'm always on the go. I'm always active. I'm always doing something. And so now audiobooks, like when I'm working, because I work from home. But when I'm working, sometimes I just have audiobook on in the background whilst I'm working, and then I'm like, oh balls, I missed something. Clearly happened, but because I was concentrating on work, I was like, oh balls.
It's literally my problem. I've been working from home for a few months now, because that's kind of at this stage of my work. Hey, Alejandro's back again.
Yes, he's back again.
At this stage, I can actually do the work from home, and then when this is done, I'm gonna go back. And I just said, all right, I just need something to hear, and there's no shortage of hangouts and podcasts and things like that. And when that's not running, I pop in one of these books. I've chomped down a huge number of audiobooks now.
Oh yeah,
it goes smoothly. But yes, and then I was like, I heard nothing of the last chapter because you're actually concentrating.
Yeah, no, that exactly that, and that's so many times. That's why I think podcasts are good to listen to as well, because when you're working and stuff, because again, you're absorbing a bit of it, but it's not key if you miss a few bits, because again, it's it's a bunch of guys talking, all that kind of stuff. It's great, but you can just concentrate at the same time. With an audiobook, I was like, how the hell did they get there?
Exactly. I have this problem all the time.
I think it's like 5-1 over here, so I think I'm just going to call it. So I'd like to say massive thank you, Nuno, for joining our Hobby Hangout corner. And
I mean, thank you guys for having me and allowing me to kind of babble on and trying to lure more people in to the dark side of the narrative. Yeah.
No, it's been awesome. We'd love to have you on again in the future as well, which would be
thank you very much, man.
Really sweet. So thank you all, chats, for obviously popping in, chatting with us, and also on top of that, for those guys who will be watching afterwards, thank you very much for viewing our content, and don't forget, let the dice tell the story.
Take care, folks.